Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to NJCAA, powered by Esports U. I'm Binks, and I'm joined by my good friend Boxy, and we're going to be having a riveting match coming up between Hawkeye taking on Sumter, and I got it all out in one breath. Oh, man. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to recover. Boxy, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Like always, I'm super excited to be here. And something that you failed to mention, by the way, is that we're not in regular season anymore. This is the playoffs. We have quarterfinals tonight, and like you said, it's gonna be Hawkeye versus Sumter, and then off stream we also have Barton playing Hawking, St. Clair, Iowa, and WSU Tech playing Northern Virginia. So a bunch of interesting matches, and these are the top 8 teams in NJCAA in the 2022 spring season, and I'm super excited to see who gets to be crowned champion in just a few days. I think it's this week, right? We're playing all of the matches out this week.
I do believe so. We have quarters today, then on Thursday we're looking at our semis, moving on to our finals on Friday. So a really exciting week for NJCAA. But let's go and take a look at the actual map that these teams are going to be playing on, because that's going to determine a lot for our matchup.
Look at this. Look at this. It only took us 8 weeks, but we actually have the operator, or rather the map band graphics now, so that's very poggers. Like I said though, maps: Oregon Clubhouse picked by HCC and by Sumter respectively, and then Bank is going to be the decider should we need a third map. First one banned was Chalet, second one was Cafe, and Oregon Club were picked. Villa was then rid off, and Coastline was the last one. If only we'd seen the Coastline pick instead of the Bank pick as the decider, these would have been like the 3 most basic maps in Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah, not really much complexity. So I'm looking for to have a really solid foundation. So it doesn't really give room for one to say, well, this is our map. We can easily take this. That's going to be really, really decisive, or it's going to go back and forth because of how much these teams have that depth. Their strat books should easily cover all 3 of these maps.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And our players are ready. Our production's ready. Our is ready. So I suggest we just get this started. Oh, there we go. Frozen face cam moment.
What do you mean frozen face cam? That's only on your end that time. For the first time, it's frozen on your end, not on mine. You seem fine.
Really? Well, okay, interesting. Well, my internet does its internet things, but yeah, let's take it into the game.
Yeah, really interested to see how exactly Oregon's gonna go, and with Oregon being our first map, it's going to set a lot of regular norms for the bans. We can expect that pretty basic Thatcher, Jackal, Mira, Cade, or even Valkyrie Cade, just depending on their preferences. But I'll be proven wrong within the first ban, and that is quite refreshing to see the ace off the board. However, it does not seem like the most logical ban.
Well, you do often see like a Thatcher ban coming out, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's what Hawkeye goes for. The fact, there we go, yeah, Thatcher ban comes out. Ace ban, I'm a little surprised by it. I do want to see how it plays out, but throughout NJCAA, we haven't actually seen much Ace. It feels like both Thermite and Habana were more prevalent hard breachers on Oregon throughout the season, so I'm not completely sure about. Next up, though, going to be Cade, and the last one. Well, there's a lot of leeway for Sumter to kind of play around with the bans, but if they want to go for a sure option, it can be a Mira, it can be one of those, standard picks.
Yeah, final ban gonna be that Valkyrie as well. So we got everything except for the ace correct. But the one ban that we thought we were gonna see is that Jackal not coming out on attack, which means that Hawkeye's gonna have the freedom to take that the operator of Jackal, which does a phenomenal job of hunting down roamers. So if that's something that they feel they're going to have trouble with, then they will go for it. But Jackal, oftentimes, I am a thorough believer that Jackal really hinders a team. You are taking away, if you have a sufficient drone game, and Flores contributes to that drone game, or the Twitch as well, they basically make up for the need to constantly try to roamers using Jackal. I feel like his kit is not the greatest use by attackers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Jackal was necessarily the ban that would have come out if Ace wasn't there. There's definitely some room for a Maverick to be banned as well, for example. Maverick, so very useful in this map, especially when attacking the top floor. And then also, I guess, if you're taking like guiding from meter, you can also utilize the Maverick there. So, yeah, I don't think necessarily would have a Jackal ban if Ace hadn't been banned, but it is the standard. We have seen that a lot.
10 seconds left.
Almost all the drones on the side of Hawkeye have already been dispersed by Sumter,
5 seconds to
so
go.
that does not leave too many viable options. I don't know who it is that lost the drone. We'll see, or kept the drone. We'll see in a second. It is only going to be... Oh, sorry. That looked kind of weird. I don't know why it only says one. I guess that's how many were shot out. So they did keep all their drones except for one. It is Pete who lost the drone. So I'm completely wrong on that point. Very well done on their prep phase. They kept their drones and they have all the information they need now.
Yep. And, well, like we said, it is going to be a basement attack. The attackers, they're not exactly sure where to approach from just yet. We see they may be pushing into the big tower. We also probably going to have someone push dirt, because that is the standard to go to. We do have Atlas already in Garage, kind of zoned off from the rest of his teammates. And if they get an entry pick there, that's huge. But if they get picked out, there's also almost no chance of them being refragged, which is, well, less than optimal.
You always want to keep every single player on your team alive as long as possible, especially not have them fall to just needless picks. But a very thorough clear, or I'm not going to say thorough to some extent, but a very quick clear of the second floor, especially with Atlas already starting to move towards clearing this freezer. It's a great use of their timeline, and with a minute 45, this gives them every single inch, every single little millisecond of time that they should need to continue clearing downstairs, as they've all been stacked around the electrical hatch, the freezer hatch, as well as even pressuring into freezer, as you saw from Atlas. And now this is going to be the next logical step, taking pillar. From there, we want to see the players of Hawkeye continue to push up electrical control, right on into supply, or even a pinch from freezer forward. If you're on the side of Sumter, what you don't want to be doing is overextending challenging angles that you aren't actually able to pick off. It is smart to try to hold pillar, but at that point, it's not something you can hold it close, because you have to worry about contending from that blue bunker. So it's a very weird stalemate that they find themselves in, and with Kuro already falling, it's going to come down to Atlas. You have to hold this down with great proficiency. They'll even find the kill onto the Malusi, as every single player on Sumter just seems to be getting pinched out.
Hawkeye have been so slow in their push. I'm going to complain about that later on, but they have found 2 entry picks. Bend already low on HP. The execute now coming out. The plant also starts going down behind the bomb. Hellbeal is going to be the first spawn of contention, but he's just playing passively behind the bomb. Atlas and Freezer taking an aggressive angle to haul the bandit, and that's a double for them. 2v5 now. Lock still low on HP, but at this point it doesn't matter, as it's a 1v5. The mirror has to go flawless and into this one if they want to keep themselves in for round 1, but nope, they get 1 kill on the board, and it's triple for Atlas from Freezer. That's all that Sumter got in, and I was gonna complain about this. I didn't like the fact that Hawkeye, they took a whole minute, with the exception of Atlas, that is, but the rest of the team, it took them a minute to even enter the building. They were all just kind of there, in limbo, hovering around both big tower stairs and dirt, and no one was entering. I know like 2 people were droning, but the other 2 people, they were just not sure where to enter from. And then Atlas' solo push, like I said, it paid huge dividends, but it could have been
contrary to you there. I'm sorry, Boxy,
okay,
but I want to actually highlight that there was no way for them to push into blue, because they had to contend with the Mira that was set up by Sumter. So it came to the push from the Habana of Pete onto the second floor that actually allowed for the push. So Atlas had a free route. So once they actually asserted pressure onto Freezer, it already made it so the players were not able to sit safe in sight. So he did a phenomenal job not overextending in Freezer, but pre-firing his angles and just really locking it down. He really paid dividends, as you said, with the 3 picks. But the push from Hawkeye, with the amount of time they took to actually get second floor control, it was exactly how long they needed, and they had more than enough time to push towards site.
I still don't think it's wise just having 2 people chilling out there, literally doing nothing. Have them get on drone, have them check something adjacent to what they're pushing, have them drone meeting in green, and there's so much stuff that you can do, but he just wasted 2 people's time, and they were just literally just chilling in spawn, and that's what I'm not a fan of. Luckily for Hawkeye, Sumter, they were playing on site. They were all, either side or freezer or something like that, and that is not the case this time around, by the way, because Vaki will be at the top of the big tower. But if Hawkeye had no control, they just went straight for the side. And if there were any roamers on Sumter's side, they could have been punished greatly for it. And that may be the case this round, because if Decky can just stay hidden up there for, I don't know, another minute or even 30 seconds and then go for a flank, well, they could do massive damage.
I'm interested. I thought they were about to throw an impact, and I got really scared, but the drone will come up. It might have spotted them out, but this is where things get really tricky. It's going to be a matter of if Hawkeye is going to be competent enough or just want to get off that drone. A lot of players, and it's a very common thing, will get on their drones and get right off of them because they feel that they got the job done. They've cleared everything that they need to see. So I'm worried. I'm very, very worried now that Hawkeye's not going to do the due diligence of clearing up above as much as they need to. The other thing they can do is just wait for the player to come down, and that works almost just as well. So it's going to be a really big give or take relationship, but as it stands, it looks like Decky has been able to evade the drones.
Yeah, and they've already done that for more than half the round. So like I said, if they play their cards right, they could deal massive damage on the flank. But Atlas and Freezer, once again, just uncontested. Wagons pushing down the big power stairs as well, and they're just looking for an angle. Sadly, missed the head of the mirror, but now they know she's there, and they can just play past it. They already burned both of their drones and all three of their flashbangs, so someone else on the attacking side needs to help with the utility. But there we go, Decky. He was standing there silently, but ended up working Kuro with one of his own. 3v5 with 55 seconds left, and now Hawkeye, they have massive work. They're left one to the side this time. It's not going to work.
Oh, yeah, Atlas is going to be able to find one pick. Contesting, pistol is going to be out, lit up to a sliver of health remaining. They still have all these defenders as Decky starting to make their way down below. They also have the entire attic to be able to work with. Lobster also with Atlas. This is getting really scary, but Decky's going to be downed up above. There's nothing they can do for the res. That's 3 defenders now that they have to worry about on this bottom floor objective. Swing around, Lobster starting to make it in, but this is a really risky plant to go for. Just waiting. There's no way they'll be able to stick it. They'll hop right on off of it as the smoke is just not going to be enough. Still scared about any sort of possible C4. Lobster getting really, really ballsy with this one. The spray will come out. They think they got the kill, but they don't know that they didn't get the planter. That smoke working to great effect. Lobster will get right on out of there, but it's going to be a 1v3 as Decky has no chance of being revived. There's a spray of the Vector, or not even the Vector, that's the Carbine, and Kuro is going to find the final kill, giving Sumter their first round.
Yeah, so Hawkeye, they didn't change anything from last round, and I guess we're going by, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, round 1, it was almost a flawless one for them. I think they've lost 1 body on their attack, but that's because Sumter, they were all just condensed on the side. Sumter recognized that, and they had 1, if not 2 people roam, and they were very patient, very quiet on that roam. They waited for the perfect opportunity to strike, and that's why, you know, Decky, yeah, he only got 1 kill if I'm not mistaken, but at the same time it was a hugely impactful kill because you saw attackers from Hawkeye, as soon as their comrade died on attack, they were all turning constantly. They were all like, oh my god, is he behind me? Is he behind me? I need to be careful of not only pushing the side, but also watching my flank. And it really did wonders for Sumter's defense there.
It did. It was a very good use of an extension. But now we turn our attention towards this top floor site, where the roam is not going to be as prevalent, but it should still be a very viable option for Sumter if they choose to try to escape to go down below to some capacity. I'm always a fan of a really light roam that can make it back to site, or an early round roam, but that means that they have to extend to a certain point, and it's very easy for the attackers to cut off both rotates back up, because it's only 2 stairs, especially when the big tower has been reinforced. So you either send a roamer out and they have to sacrifice their life, or you basically ensure that you're able to make it back up White Stairs. But when the window at the bottom of White Stairs is open, that's such a horrible, horrible angle for any defender to contest.
First of all, I would have loved the mute with the Russian red dot on the SNG-11 spawn, because that sadly, that did end up happening, but yeah, I don't know, we'll see. 30 seconds in, it's like it's primarily going to be an attic push, though. Again, Atlas just solo on the other side of the map. They haven't really been punished for it yet, and I do want to see how long they continue this trend of just, hey, I'm going to push solo, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, because that's not what you want to do in a competitive game like Rainbow Six Siege. And yeah, sure, sometimes it works. It takes your enemies by surprise, but if you're playing against a semi-decent team, they're going to read into that, and you're going to keep getting punished for it over and over again each round. Also, just before I hand it off to you, notice the Jackal, not banned, but also not brought, and that is a huge mistake from Hawkeye, especially given
Mm,
that they were punished by the roamers of Sumter last round, and there's no Jackal, there's no Gridlock, there's no Nomad, there's not even zero to deal with those roamers. Should Sumter also have someone roaming this time around?
yeah, it's a viable point. Atlas gonna once again find the opening pick for their team. But it does beg the question. They've been using a good job with their drones. Every single drone except for Wagon's second one, as well as both of Quispy's drones, have not been deployed yet. But we see a lot of their drones have been deployed, and they have cleared essential areas. So the drone foundation is there. It's just a matter of being just a little bit more thorough. And it seems like all these operator abilities are being used. So the Jackal could be a viable switch if they do decide that, hey, we are really starting to suffer from a lack of drone game. We need to start to deal with this as soon as possible. Crispy's going to be leading the front for their team, however, waiting just for any sort of peek inside of Attic that won't come out. And that's the other thing. When you have a roamer down below, you have to worry about peeking up from that angle. It's going to be a second kill, or sorry, a kill from Pete on that Maverick using that nade. Refragged by Stop Looking At Me. We will, don't worry. The spectator's not looking at you right now. Thank you to Max. But regardless, Kuro is on the frost inside of kids' dorms. They are holding it down furiously as it's going to be a pivotal point for Hawkeye to push up. And there's the lack of droning that you just talked about, my good friend. And Decky once again coming up from behind as they'll find two to their name all off the flank. And it's no longer a push from Attic. It's turning into a kill box inside of Attic.
Yeah, it really has been a slaughter. There we go. A double for Stop Looking At Me. Kuro to clean this one up. And Hawkeye, they're just not adapting enough. And you were praising them for, their drone deployment. It is true they had, 5 drones, I think, alive? But I do wonder how they actually used them. How many of those drones were used for active droning? How many of those drones were flank drones? Was anyone on those flank drones? And how many of those drones were just, randomly parked in the corner watching nothing? Because that feels like the case. Hawkeye, they drone the site and then they push the site, but they don't establish any control that they would probably need in pushes that they do, which is very worrying. Droning in general has been a thing that you and I and Fellow and I and anyone I've cast at NJCAA with have complained. This is one of the things that the teams in here like the most, and I think it's really showing for Hawkeye. They've listened to us about drones, day in, day out, but they need to figure out what they need to drone as well.
It's a very valid point. It's a tough one. I don't think I'm too much of a fan of that Malusi trap because you can break the window, get hit by it because it's a line of sight type thing, and then you can shoot it almost immediately. So sure, it's going to give you the notification, but not being used to its fullest extent. You want to be placing those banshees in positions that actually force your opponents to have to step into its line of fire, be slowed by it, and turning to shoot is more of a hassle to them, and it gives you a very fair advantage within the gunfight. Either that or they just have to deal with the fact that they're being slowed and making a whole bunch of noise. But it's a very interesting interaction, but yeah.
Yeah, I think the Malusi there is just planned for someone pushing down the hallway, because if they push down the green hallway, they have to turn to their left, and they can be shot, from their right side, from the actual bomb side. I don't think they planned on anyone pushing now, and it's not something that you see all that commonly. It happens, sure, but most of the time, if anyone's going to be pushing that, it's going to be from the hallway.
It goes back to our point of droning, though. If you go and you knife that, if you drone it out, you're going to say, oh, knife the window. Let's deal with that before it becomes a problem. It's a big problem. Kuro is going to be spotted out up top. Oh, not the C4. Oh, Kuro! Oh, no!
Well, I guess that's the opener for Hawkeye, and it's one that they've desperately needed. They've lost 2 rounds in a row now after getting a very, very clean opener. Wagons, he was ready for the Capcan there, but didn't end up mattering. And speaking of Capcan, much damage. Well, you can crouch walk solo on the other side of the map, but you still gotta shoot the Capcan. Oh, okay.
Good reaction.
Way less damage than I thought, even through the shield, but the breach is gonna come out regardless, so I guess Hawkeye is putting in the work, but again, they've only secured meeting and then a little bit of above as well. I guess that's gonna be enough, though. Nice fuse going to Hell Beetle. He was trapping that C4 and couldn't sprint away. So 1 minute 20 left. 5v3 Wagons and Atlas both at 50 HP. And it looks like Hawkeye, they may be getting another round on the board.
It is a matter if they have to worry about that flank from Decky. So if this lonesome clash is able to hold things long enough, when we see these two players go for the pinch, here's the patience coming in huge. Wagon's going to find their second after their fused cluster charge. Decky on that flank is going to be able to net them one, can it net them two? Yes, it will. It's going to be successful. They have a route back to site, but here's the pressure. This is where things get very tense. It's 35 seconds and a lot more that they have to clear. Yoshi's been just eating damage from the nades, and that's a third kill of a huge shot from Decky. He'll get a quad! He's coming alive from this round, single-handedly bringing it back, but Wagons is not ready to let it go. They'll find their kill. The air the fused cluster charge being detonated. Nothing but explosions all around Yosha. 13 seconds. They have no time to be doing this. Get on that defuse. It's going to be Wagons to win it out with the 3K.
What a round from Decky, though. They have been a little too passive on the roam. They weren't where the attackers were pushing from, but once they made their way onto the bomb site, it was a 5v2, and they found 4 kills to try and win the round for Sumter. It wasn't enough, but it was a damn nice try, and that's going to be a clip on Twitter regardless later on.
It really will. Really huge round for both teams. On the side of Hawkeye, we really... I really need to highlight the plays of Wagons on that fuse. They did a phenomenal job. They got the kill from above. They got the kill on the bandit creeping up, and they got that kill onto that pesky clash that they had been dealing with the entire round. Kuro also on that cap can on the side of Sumter got a lot of damage done to their opponents, which really helped Decky once they pushed in. They only had to sink maybe 1 or 2 shots, and they were already gone. As well as the clash from Yosha. I think that there's no denying how much of a nuisance that was to the attackers of Hawkeye, because we saw explosive after explosive that was just blocked by that shield.
Yeah, well, we can't complain about Decky. They're 7-3-2 currently, with Kuro being the second one, 4-2-2, and then Stubble going to be 3-2-0. So his team barely surpasses Decky in terms of kills if you combine them. But the one thing that I do want to see coming out from Decky, they're going to keep coming on the Maluski, is well, I want Decky to be more dynamic in terms of some rounds they should play passive on their own, some rounds they should get more aggressive, because their plan currently, and it's been working for the most part, is just hide somewhere on the other side of the map and go for those late flanks. Hawkeye is slowly but surely going to start reading into those. So if you're Decky, if you get aggressive, if you just go for those swings, once you know where the push is coming from, you could, again, take Hawkeye off guard. And I do think Sumter desperately needs Decky to do just that.
Moving forward, 2 minutes and 25. We talked about that slow push, but this time Quispy is going to be joining the sledge of Atlas for this downwards assault. They see the hatches open, so they know to be worried about Decky, but where are they hiding? That's always been the question from round to round. They could be on the most obscure section of the map, and then you have to really watch your back. But as long as you have a dedicated flank watch, that won't be a problem. They've opted to hide over on the side of Big Tower, right inside of Dining Room. The drones will be sent in that direction, but if they don't get droned out thoroughly, that's what we focused on so heavily. If they aren't droned out to the point where it's recognizable, and you're able to really pinch out that player. The problem with the drone work that they're doing, you want to have someone more or less behind it. And it looks like Decky was not even droned out, as they are just running rampant right into their unloving arms. Decky's once again in a huge power position.
Yep, but again, Decky playing that very passively. Atlas on their old and true and tried sled, just solo pushing. Decky hears that, and they are going to push this time around. It's a majority freezer push, though. It's 3 attackers are just on there, also people on the front. So I guess in theory there's 4. Decky with 1 sprints down the freezer first, or at least will contest those. The attackers now know they're being flanked. They don't know exactly where, because Decky could still be on the head just waiting for a re-swing. No, it's gonna be Maverick just walking up those stairs.
Oh my god, Decky!
Again, no! He gets caught mid-reload, pistol not fast enough, and finally the Thermite Lobster, he will shut down Decky, but the damage has been done, and it's been a massive chunk of damage. exothermic breach coming out now. 40 seconds left, but it's a 4v2. The smoke canister is being deployed as well. Wagons is pushing down the main laundry stairs, which means Lobster with the case all alone in Freezer. No one's contesting him, but that's probably for the better. Sumter, they can just play Crossfire. They can play passively because Hawkeye only has 3 seconds left to push.
This is the scary part. They're so short on time. The flashes will come out. Yosha is going to be able to avoid them, but will it be enough? It really will. They'll line up all their shots, but blinded once again. They should have taken the warden with all these
5 seconds left.
flashes burning their retinas. Regardless, Wagons 1v4. There is zero hope. They're going to save their KD.
Operators, you are out
And
of time.
honestly, that is a very valid way to go about the round. But not valid when you consider the work of the entire team, as Hawkeye not able to win it out, and this game is neck and neck.
Daki built different. That's all I have to say there, really.
Honestly, yeah, it's coming down to the flank watch.
Look at the scoreboard. 10-4-2. 10-4-2. And the second person on their team is Kuro with 4. Well, I guess 5 if you count the team kill. Or the suicide, actually.
Self-kill, yeah.
I'm happy Sumter is doing as well, because on paper they've been the best. They've been more tactical. They've been, I feel like their operator choices, besides maybe Captain, much more than what Hawkeye has been bringing for the most part. But at the same time, Hawkeye, they're at least to some degree equally spread out. On Sumter, it's just that you going nuclear. Speaking of Hawkeye, though, look at Pete, the attacker repick from Buck onto Sledge, and I'm not sure if we actually allow repicks yet. I know we didn't.
Yes, we do.
Do we? We do? Okay, because I know we didn't initially. Okay.
There's been a lot of repicks, Boxy.
5 seconds.
Now, I've been noticing a lot of things, okay?
Yeah,
Also,
that's
it's,
also something that like can be turned off. I don't know how it works, but
I'm gonna
very
bring in
weird.
my weekly excuse of it's 2 a.m. for me, and that's why I'm slow. You should see my analysis when it's not 2 a.m. Well, I tell you.
I can't wait till the inevitable day that I get to see that. That would be very, very nice. And Kuro, once again on these Capcans, I think that 2 assists to their name is probably not justice. They've definitely gotten a lot more than that, especially considering that we've seen like maybe 4 or 5 Capcan detonations and then the kills
Have
from
we?
later on. So I think so. At least we'll definitely see some more this round, because Hawkeye's not done too much of a good job following up on it. But Wagons to find the opening kill onto Kuro, as they'll be really hoping that those entry denial devices or entry denial EDD. EDD.
EDD, yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
So hoping those
EDD.
EDDs get into a good position. But Atlas switching over to the Jackal. They heard you, Boxy.
They did. They really did. Speaking of EEDs, though, it is going to be Kuro's only way of contributing during the round, because they died on the opening. Very any damage off, so not going off well for them. But there we go. The E1D does come in clutch. Atlas once again now off Sledge, but again on 50 HP. Really hasn't been their day with attacking doorways. But again, that comes from the ready play style that Atlas has been, just using for literally the entire evening so far. 6 rounds, we've just seen them solo push, and then it either works or it doesn't. It is going to be an attic breach, and ending in the first round of contention. C4 in pocket, but Deki putting in work, taking off Wagons. I like the fact that Deki is playing closer to where the attackers are coming from. Still very passive, but also not just straight up hiding on the other side of the map. Look at that, though! Daki's built different. Lobster takes so much damage as well. Just 1 minute left on the clock, and 4v3. It's Sumter having the upper hand.
Deki is still in a power position to be able to shut down this push. And once again, Attic looking like an absolute kill box. Pete parkouring all the way up towards master bedroom. But once again, daunting task for the remaining 3 players. All it takes is 1 pick, though. But 1 pick in the wrong direction is going to make it even harder. It's going to be Yoshua on that Jaeger to pick up their 2nd kill, sending them spiraling towards a 4-2 split. And that's exactly what they want. Lobster and Quispy, we've seen them do great work together. But when they're stacked up in such an obvious position, it's just a matter of if they'll be able to find it. Shooting out, we'll be able to find the foot, but just not enough spray, not enough time for them to convert that into a kill. They're not even expecting that really ballsy push from Yosha, and Helbuto over the bed is going to be able to find it right through the hole. Great toss, great detonation, and an explosive first half from Sumter.
I see what you did there. I found
Thank
it
you,
funny
thank you.
though. In the last few seconds, you said we've seen Quispy and Lobster do so much great work together, and then I like checked their combined stats, and they were 3-9-0 combined. So I don't know which great work you've been seeing.
No, not this game,
Not this game. Okay, you know what? Fair enough. I'll let you have that. But yeah, 3-9-0 between Quispy and Lobster. Not a great start in the first half, but they are moving on to defense, or well, Hawkeye as a whole is. And I do want to see if they can maybe do a little bit better there in regards to their attacks. On the flip side, I want to see if Sumter, as hot as they were in their defense, the attacking lineup. Oh, it's very basic. We have the LMG Zofia, we have the Maverick, the Thermite, the Nomad, and then the Finger for the crawling grenades and LMG. So nothing too surprising. The only operator pick that stand out to me are the Rook. But oh, you and I, we've seen so much Rook at NJCAA, and then also the Echo. Great operator, not brought out much nowadays though.
Yeah, Echo's glory days were when you had two drones and one of them could still be invisible. Like, they could both still be invisible. That's when it was absolutely insane. So I don't want to ever see. I don't ever want to see those crazy days again. I think Echo's in a good position. He has power. He still is two drones with an extra ability that the defender's going to use, and if you put them in the right position, then they can work. Yosha on the Montang. They really like those shield operators, and with there being a C4 as well as two impacts, it should get its job done. But the smoke canisters as well as those Echo Sonic blasts are going to be its biggest weakness.
Yep. 45 seconds in though, Echo is going to be putting in work on that Echo drone. As a camera also pings a few drones, the smoke's coming out from the attack, but they're unaware of Echo just watching them. C4 comes out a little bit too shallow and also a little bit too early. So the Montana is going to get away with full HP. Fiddle on the reflex, on the F2. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of it, but we'll see.
Oh, it's nice. It's very nice. It's a good scope. I'm not gonna lie.
But you have the 1.5 on it. Why would you? Well, why?
Yeah, if there wasn't a 1.5, and there you guys, Max, I gotta give a special shout out to Max, catching all the action, even showing off Montang's greatest weakness. I would say that those sonic blasts will completely take down his shield. The only thing worse than that would either be an Oryx Ramadash going right to the face, knocking the Montang over. But that is just about it. Looking for that Echo drone, the Twitch will not be able to find it. Pete knows exactly where this Twitch is, not watching their flank. This is quite concerning, as it's the exact same pitfall that we saw from Hawkeye just moments ago.
Well, look at that. The other Echo drone also putting it to work, but it's going to be Yasha getting the entry onto Atlas. Follows up with a second one with the pistol there onto Quispy. Smoke coming out. And it is going to be the Echo pushing, but the Montañez Rock shield is there to block all the incoming damage. Just 50 seconds left. Hellbeetle crouches down the stairs, dishes out some damage, but takes much more impressions. Monty also finally taken care of by the Echo, and make that 2 for wagons with 1 to follow up as well. 3v2 currently, 35 seconds left, and now Hawkeye, they have the upper hand on the defense. Sumter, they need to come up with something quick. The explosives are coming out, but they're not connecting. Nice shot from Pete as it's a 3v1. But Kuro being left all alone with 20 seconds and no K or flashbangs to work with there. Pre-fire's coming out towards Freezer, but they're not connecting, and now Kuro doesn't know what to do. They're panicking, and their chances of winning this round are practically 0. They found 1, but that's all they're going to get.
Very unfortunate. Saving the KD makes complete sense. He'll wait it out. And I gotta say, that was a bit of a blunder on the side of Sumter. They had great control, they had great picks. The Montang got a little bit over aggressive though, and it wasn't assisted by any sort of Finca adrenaline boost, even after I believe the smoke was already dispersed and dispatched off the board, meaning that that counter would not have been as prevalent. Especially for an operator like Montang, that extra ADS or a sped up ADS time, think to that adrenaline surge, is exactly what they would have needed. So very, very curious round from Sumter and why they would choose to push into the breach rather than going around to supply and just denying any sort of C4. It's beyond me. It just seems like a really big blunder, but regardless, well done by Barton. They managed to hold on and get the picks, especially when it counts.
You remind me how Decky died last round? I honestly don't remember.
They were playing the Fink. It was very late. I think it could have been a swing from the mirror, but it was like they were one of the two remaining, and they died with 2 adrenaline surges still in their pocket, which is quite worrisome to me. Like you can't you don't just hold on to those things. You got to use them, especially when you know there's like dying seconds of the round.
Well, I thought you hold on to them. Okay.
Yeah, utility. Imagine using utility. I've actually unbound that button on my mouse and keyboard. I've never used utility in my life. Like even secondaries, why would I ever use an impact, like an explosive? I just need to be able to aim and shoot. That's how you play Rainbow Six. Leaning? No. That's unbound too.
Very platonic attachment to all of my utility that I bring, and unless I absolutely must use it up, I just don't. I just keep it in my pocket because I like having it there. That's how it is.
Yeah, you never take utility to use it. Why would you do that?
But we're going to be seeing Thorn in play. We haven't seen her much. She has been brought out in both NAL and EUL, at least a little bit from what I've seen, though, to varying degrees of success. And I do want to see just how Wagons can end up using her to give Hawkeye the edge, and if he can justify bringing Thorn over some other operator that you could have picked on defense.
All right. This is really aggressive. I'm really fascinated by what Yoshawat is going for with the different. They're even. I'll give them that. They're 5-5 even, but it's really interesting the versatility or like the range and pushes that we see from Sumter. And I'm very curious to see if this Zofia push. They also put a breaching charge in the window, which I am surprised wasn't shot out.
Well, I mean, the sound can be problematic in this game, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was just fully blocked out. 5v5 though still, and we're approaching the halfway mark pretty fast. The grenade from below will be perfectly timed, and so the bandit charges on the wall are taken out. Stop looking at me on the thermite. They can use their exothermic charges, and they can get the breach open and slowly make way for the attackers to commence their push whenever they're ready.
They have the control. I'm quite concerned because it seems like Hawkeye's taking a very passive approach. If you were to go vertical right now, this would be so very critical. However, that's not exactly what Sumter is going for. Drones doing a phenomenal job, but it's drones need to be followed up with information. Otherwise, it's free picks to the defenders. Lobsters can get it down, with the lack of point notifications means that he's going to be spraying blind. And it means that Beetle might actually be able to get res as they crawl right back through their own blowtorch hole in Big Tower. And it's going to be the Finka boost, actually, to pick them right back up. And I think that probably gives them more health.
Yeah, it probably does. But again, we're still in a 5v5. The only person that has had significant damage dealt to them so far, Hell Beetle. 35 seconds left, and it's going to be a slaughter late in the round. Hell Beetle with the entry. Atlas wants to go for the C4, but misses. The push comes out, but no one checks the corner. That's devastating. Atlas with the shotgun in hand, SMG not reloaded, and the shotgun flank is going to be so great if it's actually pulled off. But will it be? Yes, it will. That's a double for Atlas. It's just falling apart for Sumter on their attacks. 2v4 currently, but Pete has been down, so there is still a little bit of hope, but not for long. Becky with 1 and 2 before finally
Pick
getting
them
down.
both up.
It's both. Yeah, they're both down, but they can both be revived by 1 Finka Surge. Again, Becky had 2 in their pocket, but they went unused throughout the round.
Oh my goodness. I saw the first one. It got the res up, and you gotta be using that utility, gents. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a clear textbook example of why utility must be used. That a Finka dying with boosts in their pocket is the equivalent, or just running out of time at the end of a round, because that's what that was, with boost in their pocket is the same as Quispy putting down his armor and only one person, or being the only person to take the rook armor and then mailing it away. It very, very much hurts.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Well, I just want to say I expected much more from Sumter with how coordinated and how solid their defenses were, even moving on to attack, on paper harder, especially for non-pro teams to pull off. I had great helps for them, and they
Bomb located
haven't
by
actually
attackers.
been meeting my expectations. Hawkeye, though, they look much less shaky on their defenses compared to their attack. So I guess Oregon is really just a defender side of that here today. But I don't
10
know.
seconds remaining.
Sumter, they're really my favorites going into map 1, especially after the
5
first
seconds left
half.
before
And now Hawkeye, they're just coming back. They've evened out the scoreboard,
Attackers are
and
heading out to defuse
I
the
don't
bomb.
know, Sumter, they're so indecisive on their attacks. Their attacks seem to be messy. They're all over the place, honestly. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's very much up in the air, and on the side of Hawkeye so far, they have not lost a defending round, but Sumter seems to be getting into position. They have the fundamentals that are there, and it's just this brief learning curve that they have to get over. Hawkeye, that's not to say they haven't done a valiant job defending these 2 previous sites. It's just a matter of one, operator selection could be a little bit better, and I know that I'm very nitpicky when it comes to that, but you can't change my mind. Rook is not a viable operator that you should be taking in the competitive scene unless there's a clear purpose. If you're just sitting on site and your only idea is taking more health for the lack of people hitting heads, that is not good enough. And 2 people possibly not even picking up that armor based on the fact that both Wagons as well as Lobster don't look like they have that extra health that they would have gotten is nothing short of worrisome.
Indeed, the airdrops coming out in attic wagons again is going to be the first point of contact there for Hawkeye and Sumter, and I do want to see if they can get a kill in, but the flash will probably prevent them from doing that. No one has fallen up on those flashes, though. The flashes hit. They flashed wagons for quite a long time, but no one pushed to capitalize off of that flash, and that's another blunder coming out from Sumter. And at some point, if they want to win another round, the blunders need to stop. Keep in mind, Sumter, they are stuck on attack for the rest of this game unless we go into overtime, meaning they need to figure out what they're going to do with it. Atlas with the entry pick with the toxic babe onto Yosha, so there's no more Zofia on the attacking side. Again, the time is slowly but surely running out, and Wagons is low on HP, so a refrag is probably imminent. Kuro already pushed down Attic, is going to be fishing for kills in kid bedroom, or master bedroom.
Attackers have located a bomb.
A very worrisome push. It does not seem like there's a clear intention. It seems like a mindless clear where there's not enough pressure. We're going to see that Beetle is in a very good position to be able to corner things off, but they haven't taken top stairs control. For all we know, this could be a second floor push with how little they've cleared the second floor. Decky's going to be able to do one. Beetle to clear a second. This could spell a lot of power on the side of Sumter, but Pete waiting on those big tower stairs as well as Wagon will both collect on their kills, leaving it all left up to the lonesome twitch of Beetle. Once again, the 1.5 is not in use, but it does look like it could work out for this Twitch, but just not enough time. There's no way for them to find these players. They have to reload their weapon. They have 12 bullets. Sprays comes out, make that 0. Pistol coming out. There is no way for them to get this plant in a very, very valiant effort from Sumter, but still full of blunders that were fully taking advantage of Hawkeye as they won 3 consecutive rounds.
Can we just take a second to appreciate the fact that Deck just got a taste of their own medicine? They've literally been doing this thing for their entire offensive half. With just, hey, I'm going to hide on these stairs, I'm going to hide in this corner, and when they push, I'm very slowly going to creep up and I'm going to shoot them in the back. And that is exactly what happened on those big tower stairs. I think it was the Jaeger of Pete, if I'm not mistaken, flanking them there. So, well, you know, it's always fun when someone can dish it out, but literally falls for the same thing when the sides are reversed. So, really, Sumter, you guys just need to work on your droning, coordination, utility usage, flank watch. You know the meme.
Exactly, just the fundamentals of Rainbow Six Siege, and we're gonna watch this. Look at the armor. Please look at the armor. Every single member should be picking it up. If they don't, then I will be very upset.
Screaming shout and let it all out.
I will be screaming in chat a lot more than you would expect, but I gotta be completely honest, Boxy. It's not looking good for Sumter. as clumsy as the picks on Hawkeye's defense are, I can't criticize it when it's working to great extent. There's no denying that a perfect cycle does not come out of luck. It comes out of coordination as well as clear executed moves on the defensive end. And either Sumter's just constantly blundering, giving it free opportunities to Hawkeye, or Hawkeye's doing some amazing things that is just not allowing Sumter to get into those key positions. We cannot deny that they held second floor, for Pete's sake. For as long as they did, they completely shut down any sort of first floor push. There was no pressure on Kitchen. There was no pressure within any sort of meeting push. It seemed like that second floor into attic was never fully taken control of. How do you expect to take control of any site if there's no control within the attacker's favor?
I was literally complaining about this exact same thing when Hawkeye was attacking, but now Sumter is doing the same exact thing, and it's super frustrating because, like I said, Sumter, they had such a promising start on defense, and as soon as they got to attack, they just haven't been able to do a single thing. They've lost 3 rounds in a row, and Hawkeye, they're going in hot, and we could potentially be seeing match point after this one.
I would not be too surprised, but we can't forget that Sumter, this was the site that they were able to use the Montank to great effect and push right in towards Hawkeye. C4 will be cooked out, shot midair, great shot from Kuro. Possibly could have saved the Montank's life, but it seemed like they were far enough away. And Atlas doing a great job holding so far, but you got to know when to cut your losses. And they'll do exactly that, running back to a safer angle, shooting at the Montank's feet. That's not going to do anything. You have to deal with that extended shield. That's going to be a really big thorn in the side as smoke has not been taken. Perhaps, Quispy, if you went for the smoke pick rather than the rook pick, which does not prevent the attackers pushing up whatsoever, you would be in a better position. But who am I to know? I am just a commentator. Beetle getting lit up almost to death. I'm not even too sure, but Decky looking for this roamer. Are they going to find the kill? They will. Another back and forth between Decky and Pete, with Decky coming out on top. Quispy to use that amplified scope. This could very well be the reason. But Wagons to get a little bit too aggressive. Same with Quispy. You got to know when to back up. The attackers won't always give you those free picks. And it looks like they are correcting everything from last time, because by using this smoke, that's exactly how you stop the plant. Yosha going for the plant. Echo Sonic Burst being shot through, not going to deny it to great effect. Decky's positioned himself. Keely inside a freezer, and this is going to be the cutoff point. Stop looking at me. He's going to give us a reason to look their way. They'll find their kill as well as Decky. Atlas coming up huge. They're going to have to find 3 more in the round. He'll find the kill to Montang. That's a huge one. Kuro's also led up to a sliver of HP. Decky, meanwhile, was in the cutoff in freezer, taking off 1 kill at a time. This is very critical because each of these players are in positions that you can cut them off 1 at a time. There's the triple kill from Atlas.
No way.
He needs 1 more inside of freezer. It is Decky. Notoriously, they've been trying to cut off these plants. Defuse will come out, sticking it. Decky, all you have to do is swing. They'll find the head of the bandit. Atlas, you need to find the man before you defuse. Huge shot from Decky, and they'll find their first attacking round.
Well, there we go. Sumter, like I said, first attacking round. It is 5-5 right now, and overtime, it's definitely becoming a possibility at this point. Hawkeye, they had the upper hand for literally the entire round, and then somehow, some way, it all fell apart from them. So, I don't know, man. It's frustrating. You think you know what's gonna happen, and then just the complete opposite happens. I don't know who wrote this script today, but it's been an interesting one.
Let me try to find an updated script for the game. That way I can read off. Okay. Sorry, guys. It's still being written.
Okay.
Yeah. So far, I can see I can read 11 rounds, but
really, because I can read 12 rounds.
Really?
That's wild. Yeah. Well, we're gonna have at least 12.
So you know what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Well, I wish I did. I don't.
I'm not gonna spoil it for you though, so you better.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate that. I like being able to sit and watch, especially considering how planned every single one of these matches are. We know exactly who's gonna win. Why is there still 1 piece of armor? I'm gonna be very upset. Who was it? Atlas. Better get that armor. Oh, it was Lobster actually. Thank you for getting an armor, Lobster. That makes me feel a lot better. Quispy, this is the last time I'm going to make a rook point. There's better people to take, especially on the second floor. You have the Bandit, Jaeger, Ace, Alibi, Maestro. Maestro could be great. You want more amplification? Perhaps you can go for Agoyo, take that TCSG. There's a few. It's quite frustrating to think of the different blunders that are made just off operator selection on this board. And I want to say the attacking end is something that we haven't actually seen too many of those blunders. Yoshi's been good about using utility, so now that they...
A bomb has been located.
Never mind. I was going to say now that they are on the Fink, we should see those boosts, but they did get one boost in. Unfortunately, it will be their dying breath. They're relegated to the bench for the rest of the round. Very unfortunate position to be in. Oh, wow.
I don't even think as nanotechnology can save you from, just taking a bullet to the dome. But Kuro is going to take out Lobster, so it is a 4v4, and so both Finka and Alibi, two interesting operators, both taken care of. The Yinkin Dallas coming out with could be an early execute from Becky on the window. Sorry, English is hard.
What?
There's still a smoke.
Why
no
is there a flash? Why are you flashing when you're droning? What benefit does that give you? There's no possible benefit. You are just hindering yourself consistently. The benefit of those flashes is that Ying's the one person that can flash a room and not flash themselves. And why is there nobody watching the flank watch? Maverick, stop backing out of the hole when you have a flank that you have to worry about and a nomad watching it. The entire push from Sumter is just a blunder of utility. Decky, you are phenomenal at shooting, but use your brain, my friend.
Well, some people use their brains, some people shoot. Very few can do both. Throw it on the round, though, to equal things out. Once again, the Jaeger still roaming at the bottom of the big round. He's going to be a huge problem dealt with, because I've been harping on teams to just start bringing nomads, so flanks are for sure. We've seen that's the case, because even if an air jab off behind you, it's not even your turn. We've seen when I think it was Hell Beetle. Stop looking at me though. He's pushing through trophy. 5 seconds left. Me shots from Decky and Pete will find him. That's another huge shot from Hawkeye, and we're definitely going to be seeing match point now, because it is 25 seconds. Crow has control of that, and he's being flanked. Flash comes out, but at a time, Jaeger maybe Crow lost half of his HP, and now he's also from the other side. It's just a plethora of angles, a plethora of bullets. Why are you sprinting, Bio? Binks is yelling. That's a good question. Why are you sprinting?
There's no reason. Get off that shifty, take it off your keyboard and throw it away, please. Because it's not going to do anything for you in that situation. You need to be scoped in, giving yourself a fighting chance. You can find one, flick to the wall. Was it possible? Very, very slim, but it was still on the board. You are throwing every single one of your chances away, Sumter. Every single one of these rounds, I should not be seeing this many blunders. The defensive side is advantage, but it is not advantage to this point. It is not to the point where we should see that Hawkeye is winning almost every single one of their defensive rounds. So far, they've only dropped one. This is absolutely insane. All you need to do is win this site. Now, on this defensive end, on the basement, they did do a great job of modifying to go for pillar into supply. But what happens now when we see that Sumter chooses to change their approach? Now, a really good approach would have said, oh, maybe we should extend into bunker to really prevent this Montagne push. But no, that will not be the case. As Decky, stop looking at me. Beetle will all switch on to different operators, as well as, yeah, Decky, stop looking at Beetle.
5 seconds left.
All to appropriately defend this final defensive round on regulation. I can't even speak anymore, Decky. Or I mean, not Decky, Boxy. I can't read either. I can't read either. I can't.
You shouldn't need to read my name. We've literally been casting this together for so long. Wow. Oh God. Well, someone in our production chat.
I'm back to budget fellow, aren't I?
Oh yes. No, you're worse than budget fellow. You're just bad fellow now. I'm
budget Binks now.
Yeah, not even that. Someone in our production said, by the way, said, I'm going to end it all. And I was going to make a joke about how we should make it a Twitch poll, have people guess who said that, if it was me, you, Max, or Colton. But now I want to end it all because you just called me daddy.
Oh, I feel bad. I'm so sorry. Please accept my sincerest apology. I forgot if you were you're not Decky, because Decky actually knows how to frag.
Okay. Well, looking for a co-caster for next week and onward. So hit me up on Twitter.
Yeah, message Boxy. I'm pretty sure this is Boxy, right?
It is. It is.
Well, you know what? That's redemption. I got your
No.
Twitter.
It's honestly surprising you to say this is Decky. That's what I would have expected you to say there. But back onto the round at hand, it is match point for Hawkeye, and it's been a long time coming because they had a pretty bad, pretty slow start, shaky to say the least. But they've clawed their way back. And speaking of clawing their way back, they are going to get the entry. Yoshi's going to fall early on. Once again, they've dealt massive damage with the Montagne in the previous basement push, but nope, not this
Why
time
does he have
around.
Case?
And now Case has also, like you said, been relinquished into the control of Hawkeye.
Laughing in a good position. They're inside of security looking towards Freezer. This could be a redeeming kill. But once again, inside of the basement, we see that it's a very, very passive angle being held by Pete. And that's exactly how you want to play Wamai. The longer you stay alive, the more Wamai discs you're going to be able to, or Wamai magnets you're going to be able to throw out to catch more. 2 nades being cooked out, but Pete is very wisely sitting back. And these shots just ringing out from inside of Laundry are going to even find some connection shots onto Kuro. I don't understand how it's been such a slow push. You've done everything you need to. Why aren't you looking for the player that was just there? Pete will connect their second. Beetle down, revived by Decky, but Wagons will still be able to finish off their kill. It's now down to a 5v2. Decky swinging out and will finally connect onto this Wamai that has been sitting there rent-free, but it's Quispy with the work and Atlas being able to swing out from the flank. Sumter letting it escape from them round after round.
I mean, to be honest, Pete in that corner on the freezer doors was so very passive that it's, at least to some degree, understandable or at least excusable for the attackers to not check that anymore. I think they were mentally way ahead. They were thinking of how they're going to push onto Highway, how they're going to get control of Laundry, or, you know, just what they're going to do past Freezer. I think they were already mentally checked out of Freezer. So I can look past that. Yes, they should have cleared it, but I also understand why they didn't. But regardless, it is the first map going to Hawkeye. There we go. Lag detected moment, at least on camera. But Sumter,
Your
they
voice didn't cut out too much, but you're right. Like we saw a really decisive. We saw 2 one-sided ends of the map where both these teams really struggled on the attacking end. So going towards Clubhouse, that's a map where you need to be strong. We saw them attempting Maverick tricks, and I can't remember which team we saw in previous weeks struggle to actually use that Maverick to great effect. So if that Maverick remains on the board and that Ace goes back and Ace is banned once again, I don't know how this is going to turn out, because that Maverick trick is essential to the attacking end. These teams need to work on their droning for a key point. You need to drone 3 seconds of information. After 3 seconds, that information does not matter to me. Where I give a call out to my team, I say, all right, old info. If I say old info, you need to expect them from any single position, because I want my teammates to know when I give a call that if I say they're sitting blank, they're going to be sitting right there or in that immediate area. If I say old info, you can expect them to change rooms, to be peeking a weird angle, to be ready for you. So it's these little types, these variations of callouts that you want to see from each team that will actually allow them to amplify their success on the attacking side. But before I continue ranting on about communicating to your team, we have a very nice 5-minute break. So we're going to be hitting you guys with that, but don't go anywhere. NJCAA powered by Esports U will be back in just a few. Welcome back to NJCAA powered by Esports U, bringing so much entertainment to you. I'm Binks, joined by Boxy.
Well, we are back, and there's definitely been some entertainment coming out from both the teams tonight. Hawking, they've taken map 1. I want to say decisively, but it really wasn't. They had such a slow start coming off. Lag detected once again, but it is what it is. They had such a slow start. I think it was a 4-2 split, and Sumter, they looked really, really well on their defenses, but as soon as the coin flipped around, as soon as Sumter had to attack, they were just in shambles, as our British brothers would say. I don't know. Second map up next is Clubhouse, if I'm not mistaken, and I really, really, really hope that Sumter can do better on their attacks as well. A major talking point for you post Oregon game was Maverick and Maverick tricking, and Clubhouse is another one of those maps where Maverick can be extremely important. So I'm definitely interested to see how that goes.
I think this is assuming Maverick escapes the ban phase, which I believe on Clubhouse should not happen. Maverick has turned into a must ban. I'd rather see a Thatcher stay on the board than the Maverick. But of course, if we look at the caliber that these players are comfortable with, Maverick is a lot harder to be using. So that then begs the question, like, are you going to go for a more skillful operator, or are you going to ban the Thatcher, or are you going to ban both, which makes these walls extremely difficult to get. But I think if you do choose to ban out that Cade, then that's also a very essential ban where you can get rid of that Cade, go down below, shoot out some bandits, or if it's a mute. My favorite counter, and this is a newer counter that I just absolutely love, is actually the fuse, where once you have a mute on that wall, you go up to the very top left, top right, even in the middle, spray it on in. It's going to get everything on the other side, and that means that you can also place your secondary hard breach on the wall, and Fuse just does everything for himself in perfect counter to the mute.
Yeah, we definitely have seen a surge in Mute's pick rate, or not Mute, excuse me, Fuse's pick rate, Fuse has the LMG, Fuse has the AK, both great guns, and like you said, ever since Fuse has also been given the ability to breach Fuse rather through hard walls, it's just, well, he's a very situational, a very niche peak, but it ends up working out every now and then. Though let's get back into the bans. I think Thatcher and Maverick are the ones. Actually, you know what? I'll say Thatcher and Habana.
They ban out the Ace, but
I'll
it
say
was
Thatcher and Habana or Thatcher and Ace. I'm gonna say one of those two. Yeah, and Thatcher's gonna be the
no
first
way.
one.
Perhaps Jackal.
I think Mav survives.
They're that uncomfortable with him.
Nah.
Ace once
There you
again. Maverick
It is
escapes.
Ace.
Maverick should be in play every single round. You can't change my mind. And if you don't know how to Maverick trick, I'm not gonna give you guys excuses. You made it to playoffs. You've gone the entire season playing. That's 8 weeks of play days. I don't know if you played all your games. Maverick
7,
tricking.
'cause everyone had a
7.
bye.
Okay, so all 7 games. If you went through 7 weeks and not prioritized people learning how to Maverick trick, it is now your loss. It is now your fault. It's not some pristine level of gameplay that you should or can achieve. Maverick tricking is meta. It is something you should know how to do. And if you've ever played Clubhouse, you need to have it ready for yourself. And great target ban on that Malusi. Seems more wasted as it leaves more on the board. But Mira gone. But Cade. If Cade is on the board now, Quispy, I swear if there's no Cade pick because you are prioritizing that rook, oh man, I'm gonna throw a hissy fit.
I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this. This is fun. Quispy report briefing. Oh no! Max, I love you. Oh no! And then he team kills. I think he was tapped out.
It
and
needs to be
spawned
reported for toxic behavior.
No,
That's
reported
toxic
for toxic
behavior right there,
behavior
Max.
as well. Oh my god. I think Quispy was tapped out, tapped back in, tried getting the armor down, and, well, Wagons woke up on the wrong side of Quispy's barrel. So it doesn't even end up mattering if there's a Cade. The bandit is gone as well. The breach is just going to get instantly open. The Twitch, the Maverick, the Zofia from below you, and none of that's going to be needed because the Thermite will just be able to walk up to the wall and say, hey, yo, what's up? And open the wall.
They haven't reinforced it yet, have they?
They've not reinforced anything. Look at this. Garage still being reinforced. And he could very well die there. If the attackers droned Garage out early on, he could have been taken out.
Oh my god, no.
Well,
Crispy,
no.
Regardless, if a defender goes down, they get picked back up, they lose their armor. They go and put that armor back on, they get more health. That is how it works.
Is that still a thing post-rework?
Maybe you don't get the help, but you can go back into the down but not out stage. It makes no sense. That's why you put your armor down in a position that does not favor the attackers. And if they go and try to pick it up, they are at a loss. They are in a disadvantage. That is the advantage of the prep phase. You cannot be shot constantly.
Counter argument.
Crispy. Go ahead. Yes. Please counter argument.
I feel like this bomb side and where the armor was specifically, an attacker is more likely to get to the rook armor and pick it up for themselves, as opposed to someone on the map being down and then being picked up and then making it back to the armor. I think that's very unlike just with how this bomb side usually plays out. If you're gonna get down, you're gonna get finished off. There is no way you're gonna get picked up and then have the time to also go for the armor. I'm not sure if that's why Quispy decided to destroy the armor, but on some level, it makes sense tactically, at least in my mind.
They don't break it when their teammates don't pick it up on a regular basis.
Well, your teammates should be picking it up because they shouldn't have 2 bullets at the back of their head in the first 2 seconds of the round. So there is that.
Regardless, push is underway from Sumter. Quite slow and methodical, something that we talked about from Hawkeye, actually, at the very early stages of the last game. Hawkeye was very, very proficient on their defending end, had trouble on the attack, so it's going to be very curious to see how well they go for this clears. Wall has been opened up, it's been put into good position. Atlas on the smoke, thank goodness that has been a change that we've seen. Smoke is an absolutely essential operator, and there was no denial. I was quite surprised the Montang wasn't used to greater effect in the previous game because there's no one to stop it. You have to be ready for those pre-fires, especially with Decky with that lethal F2 using the holographic rather than the 1.5 now. Really interesting use of scopes, but whatever gets those kills, I guess I can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, the Maestro with the Alda just sitting in the middle of the side. Oh my god, what a shot from Decky, though. That's 2. He's just fighting them while throwing smokes. I don't know how that can out, but it's all up to Pete. The clutch just went out. Stop looking at me. We'll also get the plun down, and now Pete is zoned off from the hard breach, from the bomb side. Even needs to push something. It's probably going to be those red stairs where Hell Beetle is waiting, and there's no time to get all 5 kills. And also the diffuser won't even find the first one as Hell Beetle is ready for it. So, well, round 1.
Assisted by Quispy. Assisted. I can't stress that enough. That round, I'm sorry, Quispy, that round falls onto you. I know it was an accidental team kill, but that Rook should not be in play. It should not. You can't take Rook over a Cade. It's not fathomable to my brain. And even then, there are so many operators you can be. Why aren't you taking Jaeger? Jaeger's a very comfortable gun. You aren't playing angles that require magnification. That's not the game that you're playing. Rook is such a clutch pick, and it's hitting Hawkeye. It's a double-edged sword. Consistently, they're cutting their own hands just trying to hold it.
Every week is the same story. We see the Rook pick, we complain about it, we say, okay, we're done complaining about the Rook, and then we proceed complaining about the Rook for the next 2 hours.
Well, that's because they shouldn't come from week to week, Boxy. They shouldn't be here anymore. Pick up your armor!
You're just a Rook hater. Are you a French hater in general? Do you just hate the French? Is that why you're so adamant on Rook?
Je peux parler en français.
10 seconds left.
I think we need a Bing's reaction camera. But,
5 seconds left.
yeah, you're just a French hater. That's what you are. That's why you've been hating on Rook so much. It makes sense. There you go. The reaction camera is there. Bing's face palm.
I'll do something for you guys.
Looks astoundingly like Tyler one. Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
Oh, this has to stop. Oh, this has to stop. You guys are bullying me now.
I'm a Rook
angry.
fan just
I'm angry
piss
because I
you
know
off.
these teams are so much. They can. It's such simple fixes, and I know these teams could be doing such brilliant things.
Yeah, no.
Why
you
is
just
the wall
hate
being
French.
opened so quick when you have a Cade on the board?
Because, well, apparently Sumter, they're just built iffy, question mark. That definitely wasn't the case when they were attacking Oregon. But if I'm not mistaken, this is actually Sumter's mech pick, right? I'm pretty sure Hawkeye, I'm pretty sure he picked Oregon.
This is Sumter's map pick. Great opening pick from Wagons. Getting that Maverick off the board is a very big one. But you do have Decky on the Twitch, which could have easily zapped away that Cade Claw when no one was looking, which don't know why no one was looking. But regardless, a minute 45, they're in a decent position, but they've droned out the player. When you get droned out, does that mean you swing out? No, it means you play a safer angle. And if you know they're going to be coming for you, falling back is not a bad idea. When you've been droned out by 2 drones, but have not assisted yourself, Quisp, you're going to get shot from behind. Move out of your position. It is not favoring you. Either that or plan out an impact grenade because you know they have the angle. Take them by surprise because you don't have the information on them. They have the advantage. And you also have a smoke player that was assisting you. You have to make up your mind, work with your team, use your environment to favor you as much as you can. The defenders are the ones that have the ability to shape their environment and force the attackers to come to them. That is not being utilized by Hawkeye.
Well, question by the attackers so far. They have a lot of important control, though. The one problem could be the run out coming out from stock, especially if Kate decides to proceed with it. C4 still in pocket, so theoretically the breach could be C4, and massive damage once again could be dealt to the pushing forces of Sumter. The exothermic charge, though, will open up another angle onto the A bomb side of Cash. Decky with the equalizer. Quispy will finally fall. It's taken such a long time. But if Sumter can keep up their momentum, they can push in. The yellow pink, their drones definitely helping, or they could get another round. Toxic smoke canisters, though, will be a huge thorn in Sumter's side. Kuro on the flank sadly looks the wrong way. Wagons finds a kill, but he's so far offside. He's not going to be back on side fast enough. His best bet is not play below for the C4 kill. Not sure if they'll do that. Decky goes prone. Can he find a feet? Nope. Sadly, no feet for Decky. Stop looking at me. Pushes in, though. Almost gets the kill. We'll go for the plan at the last second. Decky, that's the second one for him in the round.
Go. Oh, beautifully done. That's what Hawkeye needed. They had 3 players stay alive. Get the denial on the plant. Thank you. That is how you play and penalize your opponent. Because while I was complaining about Hawkeye, there's one thing that Quispy did that I cannot fault them for. Do you know what that is?
What is that?
Delay enough time. They stayed alive long enough that it took the Twitch and the Thermite hole to be open inside construction. They may not have held it to the greatest degree, but they wasted enough time that Sumter did not feel comfortable. They did not go and commit to a push. If they committed sooner, we could have easily seen a different round. And there was no pressure from CCTV, which is baffling to me. You have the wall open. Why don't you have a player watching that? It's better to go for a split 2-to-1 push and have something on that other wall. Otherwise, you are constantly at risk, and it's a cutoff that needs to be held. The same way when you're holding bedroom, a lot of people argue that construction needs to be held. It's quite baffling to me that is what happened so long into the round. But Quispy, good job to you. You used the Rook to great effect in holding that down, but the amplified scope was once again just not very much necessary. Moving on, my other critique on the side of Hawkeye was Wagons being allowed to roam. And that's not a fault on Hawkeye. That's a Wagons doing Wagons things and just rolling up. And they see him rolling. They hated it, but they weren't able to
you
stop
hated
him,
it.
even though he was riding dirty. And he went up all the way towards the main stairs, and he got the pick. The flank pick on a Cade is something I never thought I'd see. So, Sumter, that round was yours, and we're starting to see the same faults from last round bleed right on in. And I need to see this. This is something I need to see. Take control, establish it, keep it, move on. Nothing more. You should not see anything more on that end.
You're a French hater? You're a Cade. What do you not hate, Binks? What pleases you?
Oh, I'm not a French hater. Don't put words in my mouth.
No, you've consistently hated on our beloved French operator. We've all heard it.
No,
you're
Twitch
canceled.
is a phenomenal pick in this case and has been doing. No, Twitch has been doing a phenomenal job. If we were playing Rainbow Six Extraction and they took the Rook, I'd be like, wonderful. That's a great contribution to the team. That Rook armor can actually help us out in playing Rainbow Six Extraction. But in a competitive scene, unless you're going for crazy long angles where this amplified scope is going to favor you to extreme extents, there are better people to pick.
Oh, yes,
Twitch, in this case, a French operator, great to see on the board because it is working and helping them out.
USC Sumter, they are speedrunning extracting themselves from the game, so I guess we are playing extraction to some degree, but we're approaching the halfway mark. The control by the attackers, it's fine. They've taken what they so far. They have third, they've opened some hatches. That's all fine, but everyone is still alive. The current pacing that Sumter have, it's all good. I'm not complaining about it. But they need to keep it up. They need to be consistent with it, and they need to start getting their job done. If they stall outside the bomb site, now that they have everything set up for the push, they will surely lose the round. So it really comes down to whether Sumter can push through Hawkeye's defenses without faltering.
Interestingly enough, so far in the round, we've seen this game actually we've seen relatively little vertical play, so great to see that Sumter is in position. They are having to deal with C4s being tossed up. Kaid still has, so Wagons will still get to use
Okay,
it.
goodbye.
And a swing from Loster. Goodbye, Beetle. Maverick once again off the board. That's going to be the opening pick for the round with 35 seconds to go. That was almost a 5-man commit. Atlas to collect. Decky on the twitch to find one, and Yosha really abusing or just capitalizing off the fact that it was a really aggressive push from the mute of Lobster. Swinging
my
out.
God.
It's going to be Yosha to fall. There's no withstand to pick them back up. Stop looking at me. All eyes are on him as he'll have to clutch up a 1v3, but that will not be the case as the down Zofia has relatively little influence on the round. Swinging out Wagons with the deagle. That's a triple kill for them. Phenomenal job. They've come up huge in this game, 5-1, and there's a second round for Hawkeye.
Can we talk about the fact that Wagons was just forced to literally fight a 1v3 inside with 2 other teammates alive in the room adjacent, and no one was actually there to help him out? It was all up to Wagons on the Cade to get 3 kills, and they did. Oh, they got the 2 kills and the down, and ended up winning the round off of that. Surely, but why was there no one up close helping Wagons once your teammates are dying and then getting refragged in dirt? Why are you not rotating there? At least rotate one person. If you want to keep someone else up in blue or in main / church just to kind of prevent a stairs push or a blue push, that's fine by me. But why are we not helping our player that's holding where we know they're coming from, especially with that little time left? It's these little mistakes that are really getting under my skin, because we're so close to having these perfect flawless rounds, but then these small mistakes add up in a way that we're far from flawless rounds.
10 seconds remaining.
It's not the pre-game, it's not the mid-game. It's the end game now that we are now focusing on, and
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
I am one movie reference or song reference away from just completely losing it. This
Just
entire
lose it.
set. I'm just gonna
Eminem?
ha.
Yeah, you know the
These
song.
teams are capable. What are you spraying at, Wagons?
Just
You know what?
shooting the
Recoil
reinforced
check.
wall for good measure. Yeah, you gotta
He's ready.
test
He's
your
just
weapons.
waiting for Beetle. He read the script, but he was just a little bit too soon to be pre-firing. They do have the C4,
Look.
which actually will not be broken by the electricity. But you got to watch out unless you have a Jaeger ADS, which they do not. Why don't you have a Jaeger ADS? Why don't you have a Jaeger on bedroom? Crispy, get off the rook. I'm
Why would you? First of all,
Why are you
okay.
placing a thermite charge in the middle of the wall?
Exactly my point. That means that it doesn't matter if the bend that electrifies the left or the right one, it'll still get destroyed. That's such a huge mistake to make. And Sumter, they go unpunished for it. The jacuzzi wall has now been open, just emitted into the round. So great start for Sumter there. Again, they need to keep going. Late game has been a problem on attack for both of these teams, and it really just comes down to who can make less blunders on their late round plays. We're approaching the halfway mark into the round once again. It's still a 5v5. Wagons has taken a little bit of damage, but other than that, that's it. Sumter, they have control close to the bomb site, but now they need to start pushing either vertically, so logistics hatch, or they need to start pushing across diagonally, and they need to take cash. It's one of those two, because they can't just funnel into the jacuzzi.
The fact that Wagons is still situated in gym and was lighting up the Maverick of Beetle even more is just something that really boggles my mind. And Zofia of Yasha should be getting these bedroom windows open, but it looks like one of these bedroom windows, the main bedroom window, still has not been open, allowing Crispy to hold this key ankle. Decky waiting, just waiting inside a bedroom. They could overextend, look into the Zofia. Wagons is actually going to go for the drop, but why would you do that when you have someone waiting down below? Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, man. Deck is going to be revived right back up. I don't know how that was even possible, but the round seems to be slipping away from Hawkeye this time as Sumter is just taking full control and just using the angles that they've made for themselves. That's going to be a double kill for Yosha. It's all up to Pete, but this Roni has next to no bullets as Beetle will collect onto their head before a single one is even fired.
Well, there we go. That's a round for Sumter for sure. And I do want to commend Kuro there on the Nomad for their patience. They were playing down below the hatch, and we've seen the bandit drop it and make their fate at hands of Kuro very swiftly, very cleanly. And well, Kuro, they were playing under the hatch and they were very passive, they were very silent. They didn't make any noise, they didn't give their position away. And I like the fact that they were passive at the right time, because being passive isn't always the right call. We've seen that be the case time and time again, especially on Oregon. But in this specific instance, being quiet, just playing ready, well, it ended up working out, and it was huge. It also denied the rotation from Atlas that could have been absolutely huge. So props to Sumter is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Props to Sumter indeed, my good friend Boxy.
I'm not your good friend. You called me Decky like 20 minutes ago. Stop pretending. We're not there yet. You ruined any friendship that we had.
But like Boxy and Bing sounds better than Boxy and Decky. I mean, Boxy and Bing sounds better than Binks and Deck. Oh, I messed it up again.
Good job.
I messed it up again. Oh my goodness.
This is what like I said, looking for a co-caster. This is Boxy on Twitter. Just slide in. The bar is very low. Okay, just slide in there.
You know what? I want to give you a co-commentator next year. I'm going to bring up some of my friends from PS4. You'll love them.
Okay, well, as long as they don't call me Decky, I think we're going to start it off on the right foot. But right around in handheld Beetle on Maverick again, and it's going to be the same old song in Thens. There is no Jaeger, which means no ADS. There's no my disc protecting the breach either, so it'll get opened up.
Why
so
are you putting the cave car
fast.
directly on it? No!
Well, it doesn't even matter. There we go. Again, the exothermic charge placed in the middle.
Why is
Ain't
the my
destroyed
puck in
either way.
detonation range?
Because yes, actually, that's why. That's why. It's specifically placed there to make you mad, and paired with a crispy rook peck. You'll know you're a friend, Peter. This whole game is actually an elaborate design to make you go insane.
Yeah, this is like getting over it with Bennett Foddy version 2.0, and it's coming close, but Decky on the Montang is promising. It was normally Yasha, the Yashawat that we saw on the Montang, but great switch up. Lobster to find the opening kill. There goes Yafinka. And look at this, with the lack of a smoke that Crispy could have taken, that means that the Montang's going to be able to push up towards Garage completely rent-free with nothing really to stop them. Dealing with the pick, the Montang is not going to unextend. A little bit of a blunder from Decky, and there's not enough support. Wagon's next to fall. That's Beetle. Atlas also looking for a pick. They'll push right on up, and now it's just the Montang who's just waiting. Spray from Atlas will even collect onto Decky, but that was very much assisted by Pete, leaving Kura, lonesome attacker, stuck on the cash balcony. Spring out, they'll find Pete waiting for the run out. There should be a Nomad air jab to catch them off guard, but for all we know, it should be Atlas that has a clear audio indicator if that is the case. There's a lot of different things favoring this Nomad. The fact that these air jabs could indeed help them out. Waiting out, he'll hear the camera turn off, swinging out. We'll be able to catch Lobster off guard. How that happens, nobody knows. And just like that, Kuro has made this a winnable round.
Yeah, well, they still have a long way to go. 25 seconds left. No case in their pocket. But like I said, it is winnable at least. C4 coming out from below, though. Can they find it? No, it's going to be Quispy on the MP5 from the Rook, by the way. Your favorite operator. Close the round out.
Why couldn't you use a 1.5 or a 1x there?
Just to make you more mad. I've literally told you. This whole game, it's been scripted so that you go insane. You're literally targeted by it, okay? And well, it's working. That's all I can say.
Yeah, you got a point. Yeah, you've got a point. I think this entire thing. You've looked at the script. I think Boxy went into the script and edited it. He said, "Oh, Binks wants to go watch the hockey game tonight." No. This one's going to 3 maps. He's like, righted it to the point where I'm gonna leave my res, and like it's quite warm out. It's very nice, as you saw. I'm in Canada. I was able to wear a tank top today. Very happy about that. But I'm gonna be going outside. It might be a bit colder, but I'm just gonna be steaming I'm still breathing fire.
Well, at least
Like,
you're
you
not
need-
gonna be cold. Canada is
Oh,
cold.
I'm saying that's the problem. I'll be steaming hot, but still cold.
Is you're hot and you're
10 seconds
cold.
left.
I'm yes, then I'm no. I'm in, then I'm out.
5
This
seconds
rook is too loud. It is a 3 armor. It makes a lot of noise and wagons on the cade, flanking up the stairs.
Well, we're getting the NCAA for that. But speaking of being in and being out, that's exactly how Hawkeye have been throughout this entire series. You count them out,
And
and
they're
then they
out.
come back, and then you count them back out because Walt P dies on an entry spawn peak. But then they're gonna do something off that's gonna say, okay, or it's gonna make us say rather, okay, they're back in contention. It's just a matter of whether they're gonna do it this round or if they're gonna do it next round. Worst case for Hawkeye, it's a 3-3 split, which is already better than how their Oregon first half went. Or they win this one and they win 4-2. Oregon, they've lost 4-2. So Hawkeye, they can either do better, or either way, they're doing better than they did in the first game. That's what I was trying to say. I'm sorry, brain scrambled right now.
Brain scramble. Do you know how you unscramble something?
No.
You throw it into a batter and you make pancakes instead, because that's how you can make scrambled eggs into something better. So what I mean to say is that these teams need to add a few more ingredients. And those few ingredients can come in many different forms. You can turn it into many different things. You had too much of something, it's going to overpower. You had too little, and you could cook up the wrong thing, as we see this kitchen push well underway. Holes in the floor could be a very good recipe, but too many holes in the floor could spell your demise.
What a beautiful metaphor. And speaking of beautiful nade coming out onto the Cade as well. Not gonna take him out because, well, Rook is a thing, but he's gonna be down. He's gonna be low on HP. Speaking of low on HP, Lobster also hits the 0 marker on his HP counter, meaning there's gonna be a 3v5, or, well, essentially a 2v5 unless Wagons gets picked up in the next 30-40 seconds. So it's not looking great for Hawkeye's defense up here.
Attackers have located a
I'm
bomb.
quite concerned. If they are able to revive Wagons, they have a fighting chance, but it does not look like that will be a possibility. Quispy, thank you. There's a possibility. That was a particular angle that the 2.0 scope could have easily favored. Now the down player will finally be finished off, and that's Joshua Watts with a 3K shot through the wall. Will be that Rook finished off by Beetle. And Atlas stuck in a 1v4, SMG 11 in hand. Not the gun you want, because that limited 17 round magazine. But if they are able to make this work, this could be a huge split for Hawkeye, as we know that they aren't as capable on this attacking half. Last time they got the 5-1 split. This time they are looking down the barrel of a 3-3. Mossberg shotgun in hand, sprinting, trying to find the pick, but it's too far. Beetle will collect onto their free frag, and we see exactly that, a 3-3 split favoring the attackers of Sumter.
One thing that I just find funny is the fact that this is a recurring thing throughout NJCAA this entire season. It's just that whenever a smoke or a mute is in a 1vx, they have the SMG 11 in hand, they shoot 3 bullets, they say, oh my god, I didn't hit anyone, I'm going to sprint at them, but I'm also going to switch to my shotgun at the same time, and they just get taken off by a long angle. If I had a penny for every time I've seen that happen, funnily enough, throughout this season, just in NJCAA, I would be
You can buy a
very-
sub to the channel, which
I-
means
I-
that it's quite cheap, so you guys could
Defenders,
sub to the channel.
protect your bombs.
No, I would be rich enough to not need to cast this. This is how rich I would be.
Oh.
Yeah. I'd still cast it because I enjoy doing it, but I wouldn't need to.
You wouldn't need to? Foxy, let's be honest, you keep coming back for me.
Well, I keep coming back for Max, really. He's the only person that has been... Actually, not even Max. Even Max has been away for 1 week. I think I'm the only production member that has been here every single week of NJCAA. I've said that way too many times in the last 3 minutes. But yeah, I think I'm the only person that's done every week.
You got it close. NJCAA powered by Esports U.
Well, I knew I was missing something. But yeah, I think I was the only person to do it every single time. Kyler is missing today, maybe on later. Max also left out one play day, and you kind of joined in the middle. It's been me and Fellow, and then me and you, and then me and Fellow again, and then me and you again. I keep switching partners. I can't decide on who I want to dance with.
No, I don't blame you.
A bomb has been
Canadian or the
located.
American? I think the Canadian's a lot more fun, but
I miss John. He never called me. He never called me Decky.
oh man, this is never gonna. This is not going away anytime soon. I'm
No.
very sorry, Boxy. You have my sincere condolences, and I know that it is more of a compliment than an insult, but nevertheless, I am very, very sorry. Nade will be dispersed from Quispy. Quispy on the. Okay, so you are comfortable using the 1.5 scope. It's not like you need the 2.0. Want Atlas to find the opening pick, and this is a very promising start for Hawkeye. As it looks like they have already gotten the wall open as that thermite charge cooking out. We don't see if it's actually been opened up, but with the church hold, sorry, not a church hold, a second floor cash and CC hold, a jackal pushing up with a minute 50. That same slowness that we've seen in the past is seemingly gone. This provides so much freedom. Atlas missing some key shots. They'll have to rotate back a little bit. But it looks like the wall was also successfully tricked as Lobster's going to be deploying their lone and final exothermic charge that will finally detonate successfully. And with a minute 25, control the garage. Long shots will ring out from Atlas as a push is underway.
I know that those shots on the Raptors from Atlas, they weren't the easiest one to hit. You need to be quite fast with your reactions and adjustments and flicks. But at the same time, when you're flanking up like that, when no one knows you're there, just take that extra half a second to aim. Only take the shot if you're actually resting your crosshairs on their head. And don't give away your position for not. But that is sadly Atlas had to do. And, well, he's still established some pressure onto the bomb side, both bomb sides, actually, from Garage. But that could have been a free kill if Atlas had just waited a little bit longer. Yoshi gets one, stop looking at me, one more, but the plan will inevitably go down. Crispy now on the Finka LMG finds one, Wagons with a second one. So it is a 3v2, and Kuro's low on HP with the worst gun in the game.
Beautiful
Not
shot,
alive for
Wagons.
much longer as Wagons finds a second one there. It's all up to Ducky, who doesn't stay alive for much longer. They lag out during that.
Beautifully. No, beautifully.
Beautifully.
No.
Did I beautifully
Beautifully done
out?
by Boxy, beautifully expected by Max, and also I'm gonna need to give a shout out because we mentioned that K-Ted's not here. So Coltoon or Colton, I don't know exact. You never told us what to call you, but Colton has done a phenomenal job producing today. So thank you to them. But now on to my point, Hawkeye. That's a round of applause of a round. So well structured. The foundation was there. The push into garage. We saw the sledge of Pete down below. It didn't net them any kills, but it almost guaranteed that that plant went off without a hitch. The C4 came out late. And of course, two of those players were lost. But at the end of the day, two players lost while a plant is going down. They did their job of standing their ground and preventing a push from Sumter. That allowed that plant, that post-plant scenario of Lobster rotating into garage. We saw, I believe it was Quispy as well that was able to rotate away, as well as Wagons too. So those three operators stayed alive post-plant, and it shut down everything for Sumter. I have no critiques for Hawkeye on that round. Maybe besides that small push from Atlas, instead I have to turn my attention towards Sumter once again and say, why is there not someone holding inside a garage? Why is there no emphasized hold there? It's quite crazy. And it is Colton. Thank you. Thank you very much for producing today, Colton. We love you.
Well, we love you for replacing Max, who is deserted us like that. That was a very, very sad. But yeah, Colton, thank you. Anyway, back to the round at hand, round 8, and Hawkeye once again in the lead, but it's not a big of a lead. It's barely a cushion lead. USC Sumter, they win this one round on defense, which has been their preferred side, at least on Oregon, and well, we're equalized. The bad grenade from Finka early on is definitely going to help that. It is a tricky grenade to throw because if you're not careful, it will get caught on the edge of the drone hole. And that is something that I hate in this game, is just how inconsistent the grenades and the drone hole edges are. But it is something that you just need to practice. You need to put in work and you need to get it down. It's not that hard if you just dedicate some practice time specifically to that. But
don't aim your nade at the bottom of the hole. Aim your nade at the middle of the hole.
Yeah, it also kind of depends on the angle. It's not just always aim for that. You kind of need to just get a feel for it. But you throw 10, 20 grenades into that, and you're going to be hitting that consistently. That's Not a problem. At least it shouldn't be. Atlas, though, back on old ways. Is they're just they're not solo pushing this time. They still were the first person to push in and then go prone in the corner and then go on a drone. That's very risky. If the defense is any roamers.
I think Wagons just took out the Cade from down below. That was very, very impressive. They knew they're just waiting, trying to Cade trick from down below. That won't work out too well. And that gives the Thermite the free chance. He can put it right on the middle. And please, Thermites, please stop putting your charges on the middle. It can make a more favorable hole. In this case, it's okay because you got rid of the denial. But it's very scary nevertheless. Now, Decky, they're holding a garage. This time, they'll get the opening pick onto Wagons with Case. That's Diffuser down inside a garage, making this a pivotal area that has to be pushed. And what's the problem with pushing War Mine Garage? Well, they have the rafters, which can act as like a modified deployable shield that just extends for a long, long distance. Not to mention the fact you can't really use as many of your throwables. What needs to happen right now is a joint push. They come from both the exterior wall, look through the window, and they give them no angles to push out. This is an essential push. It's to spread out Lobster to find a kill, and that's going to be the impact. Actually going to down the Jackal. Double kill from Beetle, as they will be able to either find them from above or below, but that doesn't change the fact that Case is down. Kuro now going to be able to find their pick. Refrag from Pete, who's made their way into construction. Quispy left in the undesirable position of pushing this same Wamai. There's no throwables left.
Why
Beetle
is there
to
no
find
boost?
a second kill. And it's all of them to Quispy. They have to find this smoke. They're not watching the cross angle and around from Sumter. All from the hands of Boxy, finding an overextension from Wagons into garage.
Did you say Boxy? Did you just confuse that Kenai again?
No.
No? I'm pretty sure you did. Regardless, though,
Boxy. You can go check the clip. I didn't say Boxy.
Quispy had 3 adrenal surges in their pocket. Their teammate was on 35 HP in that 2vx. And there just weren't any heals coming out. How tragic is that? Those are the things that make or break your rounds. And, well, the round was broken. It wasn't made. It wasn't broken. And so was my heart.
Oh, well. No, check the clip. I definitely didn't say Boxy.
No, production heard it too, man. As this is you
Max
gotta
is
get
the
me out of your
tiebreaker.
head.
Max is the tiebreaker. If our spectator heard it, then it's true. Otherwise, as far as we're concerned, it's not true. But regardless, we're jumping back into this round. That last round, we can act like. Thank you, Max. Thank you for that message. I needed that.
Hey, what did Max say? I see nothing.
Nothing. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Max didn't say anything. Max said he didn't hear me say Boxy. That's all that you need to know. Regardless, Hawkeye lost that round, and they're putting themselves in very dangerous water. This is now a downstairs push. Wagons, huge pick onto the fuse. This allows them to really clear the second floor hatch. But something that we saw them struggle to deal with in previous weeks is actually when a player goes up into logistics. So Wagons rappelling up, that's a good way to clear the hallway, but it's very, very concerning.
It is indeed. Habana rappelling upside down, though, and those pellets, they're not actually being shot at the hatch, they're being shot next to it, but the impact from down below, it's going to put in some work. There we go, though. The plate has been destroyed. Another impact made it out, and the hatch is now there for the taking. Habana still has plenty of pellets in her pocket, especially with those changes of, you being able to shoot 2, 4, or 6 out.
So I'm quite curious right now. We see Wagons with 2 hard breach devices. We see the Habana, which is doing a great job. We hear the knock, 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 but we never hear the joke. But also the Lion, something we have not seen yet in this series, where Lobster has a very key ability, and they're all on their drones, but what good do your drones do in this scenario if you're not accompanied by relevant information?
Yeah. I agree.
Thank you.
Becky, though, playing it very, very passively. And that is something we've seen them do in Oregon. Clubhouse is a very different map, and playing passively on for those late round flanks is going to be much trickier than it is in Oregon. There is much less rotation potential in a sense of Clubhouse is just very segmented off. We have the strip part, which is just one big part with no rotates, in itself. Then you have the upper part of the map, which is like the master bedroom cache, and then you have the middle, which is like stock bar, and then also the basement. It's a huge map, but at the same time, the segments of the map you can really rotate through them through more than one way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. You got me covered, but with oh my goodness, Wagons!
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Wagon, stop killing your teammates. I gotta be completely honest with you. That's a complete blunder. I don't know how they could possibly believe that was the case, but regardless, it's a 4v4. Decky is going to be able to capitalize on one. That's a 2 for them. Case down. 6 seconds to go. This entire round for Hawkeye seems to have evaporated. Time will tick down. Lobster Laughs Live will get picked up by Yosha Watts. And look at that. Nicely done. But once again, I can't stress this enough. They were in position, but they aren't able to get the key picks they need.
Twitch chat, by the way, is letting us know that Crispy is a new player. He's a Valorant player. He's only picked up Rainbow Six about 3 weeks ago, and well,
okay,
at least
I take
to some
my
extent,
criticism back. Oh,
it makes sense. I'm still not a fan of them dying with 3 Finca boosts. That is something that, well, even in Valorant, you use your utility before you die, right?
But your utility carries to the next round.
That's fair, but still, just. You need to also play around utility if you come from Valorant.
Not using your passive ability. It's like not using your passive ability. For our Valorant watchers, finishing a round is like playing an entire round as Sage and not healing anyone when everyone could be healed.
Especially with Finka, yeah.
That's why I use the Sage example.
With Finka, yeah. Well, you're too smart for me. So I get that, but it takes some criticism off of the constant Rook picks, because let's be honest, whenever you Google easiest Rainbow Six operators, who to play as a new player, Rook is going to be the #1 pick. Everyone's going to be saying, oh no, Jaeger and Bandit, they're both, too important. You need to know what you're doing with them. Just bring Rook, click the button, put down the armor and prep phase, try not to kill your teammates while at it, and just, shoot with the gun given. All of those guys will say that. That has been a thing that's tried and true, and I get it, okay? So thank you for letting us know, Twitch chat. We'll find someone else to
I will take that into consideration. Crispy, I take 3/4 of my criticism off.
I only take 2/3 off. I'm still more critical.
Oh, you know what? I take 2/3 off because you're going 5 and 6, which means you have enough of a grasp that it is quite good. Oh no. This clip better not. No, I don't want to watch that clip.
What clip? Did someone clip you saying, Boxy?
We got Colton clipping something. But we don't need to see that right now. Great use of these ADSs. All those flashes will finally burn things out, but that's also a smoke that you just you waited too long.
No.
Oh, this is where you need to know how to Maverick trick. And Pete, as far as I'm concerned, you're not coming from Valorant, and you, my friend, are 2 and 8. And you need to know how to Maverick trick. A line across the top, a line across the bottom, and then you're in the sight, and it is no problem.
Well,
I'm a rhyming machine tonight.
1 minute 45 seconds left as my rhyming machine hands it off to me. And we see Atlas just playing this passively, waiting for someone to walk up and swing the cache window, which is a good play, though you are a little bit limited movement-wise on that rappel. Decides to fall back from the angle, though, drone for his teammates, which is also a very good thing to do there. The exothermic charge is going to be set and placed and soon detonated, but it's actually going to be in the construction wall if I've seen that correctly. I'm going to be honest, I just kind of looked away. Atlas, though.
Why are you in front of the window, Atlas?
No, not careful. Gets taken out by Yosha, and that is tragic. But we are 4 now. Castle has fallen off on the other side earlier, so 1 for 1 at least. 55 seconds left. Hawkeye, they're still all on the roof. They need to start pushing out. Again, they have very little control. They keep going for these direct side hits, but they pay very little attention to any adjacent rooms to the bomb site. And they have no entries into the site. They have no control besides this breach in construction, but they don't know if cash is clear. They could be getting flanked from there. Doesn't even matter though. Twitch with the diffuser just solo pushing into the side. So far so good, but no, not for long. Helby swings hello from the bathroom. And it's all falling apart for Hawkeye as they have 20 seconds left and Helby is on a rampage.
Why? Please tell me. Please tell me what is going on. Hawkeye, you're in the positions. You just have to work with them. Lobster will recover defuse, and it looks like they're going to be going for a plant. There's 2 C4s down below. They'll get the pick. It's all of them. C4 won't come out. It's a successful plant. They're outside the window. How is this happening? Becky, stop looking at me. You need to capitalize right now. This is the round that Hawkeye needs. This is the make or break. It's the tertiary bomb site for Pete's sake. The Lobster, they'll get good notification, good credit that they know that they're on defuse. Stop laughing at me, is down. Mozzie peeking into the same angle is amplified, my friend. 10 bullets running out. It's a peekable angle. They'll find it with 17 seconds to go. They'll run right on over, clutch it out for their team. Sumter, you're gonna give me a heart attack.
That is way too close for comfort, but somehow, someway, Sumter, they win the round, and they propel themselves even onto match and series point. Actually, what am I saying? No, they're not. Hawkeye won game 1. We are edging game 3 instead. Excuse me. I brain fried, like I said. But we're probably going to be seeing Bang. How do you feel knowing that?
I need a second, please, Boxy.
Okay, good talk, good talk. I guess I'm gonna keep talking.
Right now.
You're in tears? Bing's reaction cam?
No, I don't want a reaction.
Production?
No.
Attackers need to locate and
You had that, Hawkeye. Sumter, please. I know you guys can do this. It should not be that close. Thank you for no reaction cam.
attackers have discovered the location
Thank you.
of a bomb.
I think
I
Colton-
needed an extra second.
Colton's just waiting, and he's gonna turn it on when you're least expecting it. That's just the way of Colton.
I am honestly in tears right now, Boxy. I'm in
Why?
tears. These teams, they had it in their possession.
Why are you crying? Big girls don't cry. Do you know the song?
Everyone can cry, Boxy. That's your toxic masculinity talking.
Okay, well, I'm a toxic male. You're a French hater. We should both be cancelled, really.
And as we say, that stream just gets unplugged.
Oh no. We're gonna get
Regardless.
cancelled for real one day, but until that day comes, we should probably start focusing back onto the rounds at hand. Again, we're on match point. It's Sumter this time. I've mistakenly said it, for Hawkeye, but you'll saying the dumb stuff, so you'll have to just excuse me on that one. Bang, like we said, is very, very likely. Hawkeye, they haven't been doing hot on their attacks. Just like previously, Sumter weren't doing hot on their attacks when they switched from defense. So I think this is the most defender-sided series we've seen all together throughout this entire season. And well, overtime is possible. Hawkeye 2-0 is still possible, but it's getting less and less likely by the second here, and especially given that Hawkeye, again, they are on attack on this map point, and their attacks haven't been good. And by their attacks haven't been good, I mainly mean the timing, okay? They
This site,
started
however,
off well.
CC is quite promising for them. So I think that they have a good chance if they do properly clear, but it looks like Sumter, since that first round that we saw, they have massively corrected. They've extended out to be aware, to have to look for things. I think someone just fell into the basement. But at least they've done a phenomenal job clearing and making sure that they have control of this bottom area before they start going. And the IQ was actually able to spray up before shots fired through is going to light Crispy up. You got 3 finger boosts. Use them. It's one click of the button. It's literally your passive ability. You get a new one every single round. Please, please, please use it. Please.
Crispy, press that button. Just like casters, we have to, press the start the games button at the beginning of each game. That's how you as a Finka, you should just press the adrenal search button. You should give everyone health, and everyone could use it. Atlas especially. as they've taken some damage.
Regardless, Atlas is just coming up huge, Boxy. We can't disregard that. But your counterpart of Decky is also doing their part. They'll find a frag onto Pete. Lobster to find it. There's a second one for Decky, but falling to the ground. There's the adrenal surge we were all looking for. There's one that has helped Atlas out, spraying out. It's gonna be Kura to find the pick, and it's down to a 1v1 with Decky on the balcony. Down, finished off. There's a bit of human dronemanship that will actually favor and Wagons not to pick up the defuse. They're going directly for the kill. They don't have anything. Spray's coming out. They don't have the information. The player just has to run. Wagons, what are you doing? Make up your mind. And it's gonna go the way of Sumter. Oh my goodness, no.
It's such a huge blunder. Again, it's all of these small decisions just amounting up to huge mistakes, and Sumter, they take this 7-4, and that means we are going to Bank.
Bank is going to be our third map. I almost don't want to talk about Club. There's so many blunders from every single team, but there's no denying that Sumter improved on a lot of the flaws they had before. When they made a mistake, they recognized it and cleaned it up quite promptly. CC is a very good example of that. We saw 3 different iterations. We saw the first one, not covering garage, not covering down below, relying a little bit too much on the Valkyrie and the lack of C4s from down below. Second iteration, we see the Wamai go right on over, and it worked. It stopped the second push. They were able to win and hold CC. Third iteration, a castle down below in combination with the Wamai. It came very, very close to the 1v1, but ultimately it was the blunder once again from Hawkeye that allowed for them to secure their map. And we are going to be going to that third map. So we'll be right back. NJCAA will be back in just a moment.
Alrighty, we're back. Well, I'm back. Binks isn't back, but I got a good friend of mine, Chief, joining me here for the decider of Veng. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing excellent. You know, I had to jettison Binks out, but, you know, why he's missing out on map number 3, the best map in the competitive pool, Bank, I am here to bring you my own personal favorite map, so no bias whatsoever. I promise you I'm not going to be hyping up the Bank superiority by any means.
Yeah, you definitely will. Okay, straight into the match, though. Hawkeye versus USC. Sumter, like we said, 1-1. Hawkeye won Oregon. Sumter answered with their own map pick of Clubhouse, and it all comes down to Bank. Keep in mind, single elimination bracket. Whoever loses is out. These are the playoffs. Brian, what do you think of the bans? We've already seen 2, but there's 2 more to go.
You know, the ace ban, Boxy, is a smidge odd. We usually see a secondary hard breacher ban, but usually gravitating away towards the ace and more in favor of the queen of the hatches, Habana or Maverick themselves. And the reason why we go towards those hatches, or those ones, is because hatches are OP.
Yeah, ace has been permabanned today. For some odd reason, ace and Thermite and Cade have been gone every single time. Actually, no, Cade was only banned maps 1 and 3, if I'm not mistaken, but Thatcher and Ace have been banned every single time so far. So it's just, I don't know, a weird preference that Sumter seems to have, and they're not straying away from it. Also, we've been told that Quispy, we've bullied him enough on the Rook, and he's going to be trying out Legion for the first time. So I'm excited to see how that goes.
Hold on, time out, Boxy. Are you saying that you're not a fan and a disciple of the Rook?
No, I am a fan of the Rook. But
okay.
At appropriate times, okay? We've seen Rook. Yeah.
Let me introduce you to Rook superiority.
All my party people on the floor.
Because here's the thing with Rook, my friend. Like, we're currently in Nade Bonanza, right? Where it's very common to see 3 sets of grenades for a total of 6. Now, why Sumter is not bringing that out right now, the only operator to guarantee your survival of a nade is Rook, because they force the DBNO. Doc can't do that consistently. T-Bird can't do that consistently. Other 3 armors can't do it consistently. Like, there's a time and a place, and I agree with what you said earlier about the Rook, but Rook superiority, my friend, like, if you're bringing out a map that has a lot of soft destruction, let's say upstairs Bank CEO, Rook is viable, my friend.
I agree with you, but at the same time, in the last few weeks of NJCAA, we have seen so much Rook at just random times. I think we've had a few matches, including today, where Rook was just picked every single defensive round just for the sake of it being Rook, that it's like, okay, do these people just not have other operators unlocked? This is a thought that we've been playing with because that's how much Rook we've seen. Definitely a time and a place. This is a discussion that we've had while on the break, by the way. Parabellum an hour ago in their NAL match, they were bringing both Rook and Doc, and they were playing for this grenade now because their opponents, they kept bringing nades, right? So it's definitely smart to bring Rook at times and then a Doc or a Thunderbird to pair them up with, especially if you're playing against a lot of grenades. But at the same time, I don't think that's why Rook is being picked here. I think it's just a comfort pick. It's one of those operators that everyone knows how to play. Everyone has. You drop the health early on, and then you're done. You can just hunt for frags.
Well, Sumter is lacking their explosive might. Only one set of grenades. Decky bringing that out on the Finka. Hawkeye certainly do have a plethora of that explosive devices. 3 impact grenades. Now, not HE grenades, but they'll still be able to do 60 damage, usually designed for rotations. But since we have the Monty themselves, the Mountain in the lobby, those impact grenades can start to do some chip damage away from that Sumter primary entry.
You've been talking about the Finka and her grenades, but the more important part of her loadout is the Spear. That isn't bringing the LMG, which I find extremely interesting. The Spear, it's a good gun, but everyone plays Finka because she has the LMG, the health boost, the Gon 6, and the grenades. When you drop the LMG, yeah, she's still good for sure, but at the same time, why not just bring the LMG?
Well, our Monty's still creating some awkward engagements for the Hawkeye defense as one of the exothermic charges detonate in the security room. A new avenue and a new line of sight created by the Sumter offense. Now, this might be one of the avenues to begin to go for the plant, but you still have to dot your I's, cross your T's, and make sure that the members of the Hawkeye defense is unable to whip one of those explosive devices at your face. One nitrocell was brought out by Wagons, but already dispatched, not finding any targets with that or a lot of HP loss. One of the primary flank watches falls early, but the trade is met relatively swiftly. But again, still eyes back over to the explosive. Lobster having the last one, and Peter's lurk still in the blue stairs is providing dividends, plus with the crash from Atlas, and it's starting to go off over into the server, but not in favor of Sumter.
25 seconds left, and the attackers, they need to start pushing in. They're at a man disadvantage, and Atlas still on the flank. Stop looking at me. Will start sticking the plan, but nice shot from Wagons. Goes for the second, finds it, and the first round will go to the defenders here on Bank. One thing, though, Brian, that I want to talk about really quickly is the fact that we've had 3 attackers push into the server, and they were all focused on the bomb site. No one bothered to check the blue server stairs where Wamai was playing. And then Wamai was even throwing out the magnets, which, you know, they make some sound when they're deployed, and still no one checked them. It allowed him to get 2 quick picks, and that was when Hawkeye won the round, honestly.
And those linear server takes, as you were alluding to, they are somewhat in the meta. We do see attacking teams bring that out frequently, whether or not it's a Monty or the OSA deployable shield being used. It is frequent, but as you're alluding to, it requires a certain level of coordination from the attacking team to establish their foothold over in the security stairs and establish the utility consumption, and more importantly, also trade around the Monty. It requires a lot of moving parts, very similar and in ways contrasting the full map clear. But at the end of the day, I was alluding to why I'm very biased towards this map, as it requires a strong central leader. The end-game leader has to be very well in parallel with their troops, communicating with their troops, and if they start to lose control of the round, well, all of a sudden it starts to degrade and slip away from them.
Something that you haven't really seen, given that the just jumped in game 3 without actually seeing games 1 and 2. Yeah, you just got here. The one thing that I've been saying, and this applies especially to Hawkeye, but also to Sumter on their attacks, they all just hit the bomb side direct every single time. On Clubhouse earlier, we've just seen so many rounds where they just focused on, I don't know, the jacuzzi wall, and they just kind of funneled in there. They didn't even take cash or construction. They all just kind of hit side direct every single round. And again, it applies to both teams, maybe Hawkeye a little bit more. But I'm scared how that's going to play out on Bang, because on Bang you need so much control established before you can go for those executes. And whoever's on attack at any given moment, I think, will just be severely punished for hitting the site without clearing what they need to clear.
Synergization is key, and that's going to begin with the primary step of every attack. That's going to be the drones gathering information. Sumter already establishing information over in the trading side of the map, Boxy, but they haven't yet actually started to push, and one of the most crucial things about those small roly-poly information-gathering devices is information is only good for about 3 seconds. As soon as you gather that information, you have to immediately follow it up with one of those primary entries, whether or not it's your Monty or somebody a little bit more aggro on the gun upside, and while the Sumter offense was doing a wonderful job of gathering information, they've been unable to capitalize it for map control, real estate control, or the entries actually pushing in.
Stock control being established slowly but surely, a few grenades, a few flashbangs coming in, but Sumter's still reluctant to enter. There we go, though. The deployable shield on the hallway also taken out, and now Stock is there for the tating. Pete is going to be the first one of contention, though. I don't know, I say that a lot, but he's just there waiting on the angle, dodges a few flashbangs as well, and he could deal massive damage. A smoke canister coming out from Atlas very prematurely, and it doesn't achieve much, in my opinion. But I guess at least put some pressure on the attackers. Kumine's going off, so Quispy doing work on the Legion as well, and it's 55 seconds left as the attack needs to commence.
Excellent trading back and forth. Both rosters are going to maintain equal roster advantage, but the vertical pressure from the square skyline is going to slightly skew it in favor of Sumter. But the Hawkeye defense still has a few aces up their sleeve, and that's going to be the Wamai pancakes that are dotted throughout the bomb site, as well as those buffer rooms. That's going to deny potential utility consumption of Sumter. When they start to go for their plant, they're going to have to be very mindful of where they place those smoke grenades and hope that they don't get grabbed by the toxic gas. And it's really going to rely on Sumter to start to move quickly. Both smoke grenades get Nate, allowing the push on forward. But it's a push through the smoke. The Stewie 2K action good for a 1. Sumter's coverage is lackluster, but they're still able to spring in, finding their 2 kills, and they're going to be able to equalize here in round 2 for the CEO offense.
I think this has been the case in both previous games as well. One team won the first round, and then the second one equalized it out and then took the lead. So if we go off of that, Hawkeye, they're in for a good first half. I don't know. Defense today has been extremely strong in general. Whoever's been on defense has been setting the tone, the pace for the match. Both teams have kind of had trouble attacking, really, and I want to see if that continues on Bank as well. But you've seen both teams play now. I know it's just 2 rounds. I didn't want to ask you for predictions earlier, but what do you think? Who do you think? This is essentially
You're gonna throw me under the bus for predictions? Well, I mean, I'm gonna be flipping a coin, Boxy, at this point. In all honesty, I mean, both teams look very equal right now, and I'm not going to give you a prediction, not because I'm just trying to be invasive. I have a sample size of 2, right? And both teams have strengths and weaknesses. Sumter lacked their structure on their basement attack, but they brought structure on CEO. And that's, to me, a hallmark of a good team. And Hawkeye did the exact same, but the reciprocal when we saw their CEO attack. I think what it comes down to is how comfortable they are playing together as a team when things start to heat up.
Attackers are moving.
Okay. I think one of the players to look out for once again is Decky. He popped off on game 1. I think his KPR on defense was above 2. And then they were a little bit more quiet on Clubhouse. If they can just tap into whatever was driving them on Oregon, I really think they could just single-handedly carry Sumter into the win. But at the same time, I'm not sure. Also, I'm not sure if you spotted that drone above Valkyrie. She definitely didn't, but it's up on the doorway. And, well, if anyone bothers to check that drone, Valkyrie could be put to an early end here in round 3.
Yeah, but Valkyrie goes 2 ways, my friend. You can see that she's already put her nitrocell in the field of play, and well, that's just not randomly placed. That's in coordination with her utility. The cameras that you can put in any location. One of them most likely in stock trading to allow her to bring up her camera, spot an attacker taking control of stock trading, and all of a sudden she's going to pick up her smartphone, make that call, and potentially deny a member that Sumter's offense trying to take that control. Great synergy, though, and great heads-up identification from Sumter, who has an IQ in play, grabbing information not only those Valkyrie cameras, but the Wamai pancakes that are plenty currently in the pitch.
You just calling them my pancakes? That's something
Absolutely.
I never heard before.
Have you never heard me call
Amazing.
them pancakes?
I know, but I don't listen to your casting, so.
Oh, +1 ratio.
I love you. Anyways, Halfway mark approached, 9 seconds left on the clock. Attack has some semblance of control around the map, but they still have so much to go for. Decky trying to go for a few wall bangs. I think he just opened up the wall, probably going to try nading through the soft floor. Kuro on the other side of the map, quite literally, on the roof. Probably going to air jab something off. That's the only way I justify having anyone on that skylight. And defense, they're just playing this passively. There's not much for them to do but wait for Sumter to attack.
My friend, you're not the disciple of the baiting meta where you just sit on the skylight perpetually. There is a bait taking place, the denial of stock trading. Well, good for one. It's going to be traded out relatively quickly. Again, the hallmark of this series so far, particularly here on map number 3, has these impeccable trades. Both rosters kind of going lockstep with each other, but the trade game now in favor of Hawkeye, forcing the members of Sumter to start to spread out once again. We see kind of this discombobulated attack with a potential flank from behind. Boxy, it's a high-risk, high-reward scenario, and Decky, you mentioned one of the highlight players so far in this series. Well, they're about to earn their worth in salt. The flank from Banana Stairs is good for Atlas, but again, we have to monitor where Sumter is during this attacking endeavor. They're pushing in from 2 fronts, surrounding the members of Hawkeye, but they have their own wrinkle, Boxy, in this attack, and defense. That's going to be Wagons in from behind. They're the last one left of their roster, and Decky's already monitoring the flank, allowing for that push to work out brilliantly. Sumter goes 2 rounds in a row on CEO.
Sumter, they're just going nuclear, really. And yes, they failed first time they attacked CEO, but they've corrected most of their mistakes. It was enough to give them the round and the edge over Hawkeye. So again, Sumter looking much stronger on their attacks than they have on Oregon, and so far even stronger than have on Clubhouse. I don't know. I hope they can keep it up. Again, I do think Sumter have kind of been the stronger team throughout the matchups, but Hawkeye, they've only been a round behind, if I'm not mistaken, if you tally up the total round. So it's really been so close. That's why my question, me asking you for predictions was even meaner than it may have come off, but I was just kind of curious. I was going to ask Binks, and he left. He unpromptedly left.
I see why Binks left the cast. He didn't want to be pestered by your predictions, and at the end of the day, predictions really matter? No, it only matters what the individual players, the 10 players in the lobby, can deliver. Right now, Hawkeye is delivering a defense that is going to be quite standard. With that extra spicy curry-flavored twist, I like to add, it's going to be the grandiose full map roam upstairs in CEO. The bomb site that we're at, well, we're going to be seeing members of the Hawkeye defense lurking in those areas, trying to force Sumter to clear out as much of the map as possible. Boxy, this endeavor is to try to waste as much time and hopefully remove a member of the Sumter offense. Now, that's hoping that Sumter doesn't go for the same push that they did the previous round, the very linear push in through security, CCTV. Surprise, Monty's back. It's another very linear attack.
We've seen Joshua on this Monty quite frequently today, and they've had rounds where they've absolutely popped off and done so much work for. There've also just been rounds where they got instantly shut down. Even a few rounds where they just pushed in by themselves with the case while all of their teammates were on the other side of the map, and they just forfeit the case. So it really just comes down to how Joshua is playing around their team with the Monty, or rather how his team is playing around them. Pete, again, going to get spotted out, and there we go. Finally taken out early enough by Kuro. Kuro now very low on HP, but they've already got an entry frag. The air jabs are also coming out. So Nomad's job is pretty much done. They can focus on throwing in a few flashbangs, droning a little bit, and then helping the execute commands once that comes to shove, really. Atlas on the flank, though, is where it gets interesting. Atlas has been a very aggressive player, loving to play solo. Air jab will get triggered, but I'm still hoping that Atlas get at least 1, if not 2 kills on the flank if they decide to go for it.
White coordination in the pre-fire with the Monty found the opening kill. What about that flank watch? Atlas is going to be the player to kind of monitor because Sight is being pressured very stiffly right now with the RCXD drones pushing Sight, removing the deployable shields, and the flank from Atlas identified too quickly for the Hawkeye defense to really be able to do anything with. The plant's starting to go down. Sure, you got Lord Tachanka, the Shamika launchers, but it actually falls short. The second one will not, forcing the members of the Sumter offense to cease and desist with their plant, but you only have so many Shamika launchers, my friend. 2, in fact, now left, so that's only going to be good for approximately 20 seconds of time denial, and Yasha Watts pushes up. Again, the Monty, so oppressive and something that the Hawkeye defense needs to deal with, but they're lacking projectiles and long-range utility to chuck at that Monty. And what about this flank in from behind? Oh no, it's all going wrong. They go down, sure, but it's going to be the Fink after all. You're able to res yourself. The plant goes, and Quispy in a 1v3, very difficult to be able to break, especially with a Monty. But they dish out some HP to stop looking at me, the planter. But Boxy, this is, again, an impossible endeavor.
Well, our Valorant player, maybe they can muster something up. They still have an impact as well, which means a well-placed one could down. The Thermite Curl also taken out, so definitely is winnable. Only 25 seconds left, so you need to be swift. And with low HP, Quispy has his jump cut out for him. But there we go, he gets the down. It's all up to the Clutch just went out now, just a few well-placed melees. Can he do it, Brian? 7 seconds left because he still needs to defuse. No, the Monty's just playing time, and it looks like it's just not going to be around here for Hawkeye, even though Crispy tried his damn best, and it was very close, but sadly not close enough.
It's, again, an impossible endeavor to be in. It's a very hard-fought round for Quispy. Found 2 kills throughout that push, but again, when you're in that 1v3 with a Monty, even pro players crumble under that pressure. I admire Quispy's ability to be very focused on the task at hand, but again, the Hawkeye defense as a whole kind of crumbled under against that Sumter offense, whether or not it was her initial opening kill with the Nomad swing into the security stairs or the denial of Atlas on that flank. Everything came together as a well-oiled machine for Sumter. While that motif may be overused somewhat, Boxy, it's a great way of demonstrating how well Sumter is pushing together as a roster. We saw it on CEO twice, in fact, and now here in the basement. They're looking strong, and something that Hawkeye needs to adjust to. They need to bring more throwable utilities. Smokes, nitro cells are required to break down that Monty play.
I like the fact that we're seeing a Wamai. I like the fact that we're seeing a Tachanka, although we have both Tachanka and a Smoke, which that's a lot of denial. And yes, we have seen the plant go down often, but you know, Tachanka Smoke, that means that other operators will not get brought. So definitely that. I also want Becky to start bringing the LMG. Yes, they've been getting a lot of amazing kills. They're 6-2 currently, but last round, if you remember, they pushed in, they got 2 amazing kills, and there was definitely room for a third one, but they ran out of bullets. They switched to their secondary, but they forgot they had to go on 6, and that's how they died. LMG? Well, it would have fixed all of their problems there, really.
Oh no. Boxy, you're trying to convert more to LMGism?
I mean, no, I hate the LMGs, but then again, they're a fair game. This is a competitive game. We're in playoffs as well. This is the decider map of the quarterfinals of playoffs of NJCAA. Might as well take every advantage you're given as long as it's deemed legal. And LMGs, as annoying and pesky as they are, they're definitely legal and part of the game. Might as well use them.
Well, things are getting a smidge spicy, my dear Boxy. Look what's going on. A single hard breacher, but we're going for a flank from behind. This is a reg push in through lobby, and why I highlighted this single hard breacher, it doesn't allow you to have a lot of flexibility, so you have to be very calculating on where you place those exothermic charges. You also have to be very mindful of players potentially on an extended roam, just like Pete is. But, my friend, if it's a linear rush with that Monty, not necessarily a rush, but a swift execute, if you will, it might be something the Hawkeye defense might not be prepared for. Wagons picks up the deployable shield, though, so I think they're fully aware that the offense has changed their attack.
Well, I definitely do like the fact that we are seeing some shift attacks just coming out from both teams. Again, like I've said, it's just been side-directing maps 1 and 2, so the fact that we're kind of experiencing something new now, I'm a huge fan of. Okay, you didn't have to sit through 2 maps of just literally the same attacks on different bomb sites, and it really feels like a fresh breath of air to me here. The Chanka, though, is going to get pushed out of position. Their shield destroyed by the Vetero drone. Shamika launcher now in hand, ready to deny any potential hedge drops. It's not going to come to that just yet, as the attack elects to drone that out first, get a little bit of intel, and maybe even dish out a little bit of damage with those explosive drones. 55 seconds left, though, and they will need to start pushing at some point.
Slow feeling attack, and that's going to only feel slower as Lobster finds the opening kill. Beetle falls, and Monty is in a world of hurt. Yashuan is taking damage from multiple positions. The flank from Pete is good for an additional kill, and that's Decky, one of the top frags on the side of the Sumter offense, falls, and oh boy, fire and flames right now for Yashuans. And where is Kuro? they're nowhere to be seen. They're not helping their Monty at all. This might be a critical overstep, and it is, in fact, a push in through Archives as Joshua takes their final breath, and Pete's going to find that final kill as well. It's Hawkeye defense basically able to shut down the offense. Far too linear, far too fatal funnily, and they end up getting shut down by a crash from the Hawkeye defense.
Well, I know it was a 1v4 inside, but the fact that Pete on the Wamaya for getting 2 kills on the flank, still just kind of chilling down on Archives, is interesting to me. But then again, like I said, it was a 1v4 inside, so they could afford it. You know, they could have hunt down the last kill. Why not? But I also get why the Nomad didn't expect anyone to be there, and she just kind of sprinted there to help out her Monty as soon as she could. Anyways, Hawkeye, they went around. They're kind of slowly trailing behind Sumter, and again, we're either going to be seeing a 3-3 split if Hawkeye win, or we're going to be seeing a repeat of Game 1 where Sumter took the first half or 2. Though that was on defense, and now it's on.
If you're a Hawkeye fan, fear not, friends. Your team still has a horse in this race. If we look at Pro League statistics, again, this is collegiate amateur, but it's a good litmus test to kind of see where we stand in the ecosystem of competitive Rainbow Six Siege. Bank is, in fact, attacker-sided. It actually has a 46% defending win rate, so it's very typical to see 4-2 splits or 3-3 splits here on Bank. So Hawkeye, when they convert into their attacking round in one additional round, they should be in a very comfortable position if they do have, again, that strong central leadership, that strong IGL to be able to articulate and communicate exactly where the pushes should be coming from. In fact, the best bomb site statistically here on Bank is where we currently reside, CEO and Lounge.
Yep. Well, I usually read the stats off of CGG, but it looks like you have them all memorized, so no need
I
for
do
me
have
to
them
do
memorized.
that. Yeah.
It's the degree in finance, bro. 58%, 50% win rate here on the bomb site we're currently at.
Well, now I can flex my CGG Pro membership that, you know, only the Pro 10 old gets.
My bad, my bad.
It is
That's
what
not
it
me,
is.
Moxie.
Well, no, too late. Damage has been done. I'm hurt, and back to round it is, I guess.
Emotional
2-3.
damage, you could say.
True. I will need counseling after this one. But you're still better than Binks, okay? He called me Decky like 3 times during the cast, and then he called Decky
Pardon,
Boxy.
Becky? What were you saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, pardon me. Your
Yeah,
name is Becky, right?
Yeah, my name is Becky.
Well, the real Decky is flank watching currently. The rappel angle from the west side of the map, and honestly, a very powerful angle, Boxy, because it allows you to cut rotations from multiple angles, mostly on that middlemost floor, whether or not it's coming upstairs in through Banana or through Archives, a connection into elevators E number 1. So something that could provide dividends, but not found, or Sumter not finding any of those roamers yet, because Hawkeye is mostly playing very anchor on that top second floor.
See that air jab on the marble skylight? It was kind of shot in the light. Does that even go off? Is that like a line of sight thing? Does that work?
No, I don't believe it will have the angle. I think it missed.
Well, something to be careful of. Just because it seems like it's well hidden from the defenders doesn't mean that it will actually go off. And you could be thinking, hey, this flank is secure, I still hear the air jab going off, but it will not actually activate. So it can give you a sense of false security, and you should be careful that your air jabs are actually deployable. But Pete, once again, with the entry this time onto Hellbiddle, so Tweet is no more in Hellbiddle. They've been doing pretty well today, but on this specific map, they're 2-5-1, so not doing as hot as we might want them to be. Yasha also not on the Monty on the IQ this time, but they're still low on HP, not for long. Pete just goes for the swing, takes them off as well. 40 seconds left, and again, it's just going to be a Hawkeye round if we keep the trend.
Sumter offense starting to stall, but you got Decky coming up the banana stairs, the position that they were in the last time that we saw CEO back in round 3. They were able to find multiple kills. They're going to repeat that success, but he only got one more attacker left on the other side of the map, and there is the crumble as Hawkeyes come together as a cohesive fighting unit. They find the final kills. The Sumter offense, they put themselves in a very comfortable position. Boxy, they're going to go 3-3 to the half, and again, if we're using Pro League statistics as our litmus test, my friend, it's a comfortable place to be in because this map is attacker-sided.
Well, I know you love saying that just how the cookie crumbles, so I'm going to say it for once.
What type of cookie?
Chocolate chip.
Excellent.
Excellent. And a little bit of milk on the side, because chocolate chip
Whole milk,
cookies...
of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh. Cookie has crumbled, and it's crumbled exactly in half, because that is how the rounds have been divided between the teams in the first half. 3 for the attackers, 3 for the defenders, as we now switch with Hawkeye going on attack, and USC Sumter assuming the defensive roles. Do you
Downstairs
think
in the
we...
basement.
Sorry, let me. Who do you think really, like, will the attack prevail here? Will we see overtime? Will the defense just win this out? Like, what do you think now? You've kind of seen how both teams play.
It depends, because it really depends on the individual skill level, and it's one of the problems with quoting pro league statistics is emulating pro league, right? And in case of amateur, it's a different ecosystem, as it should be. And it's sometimes hard to tell, but I'm still going to go in favor of the attack, which means Hawkeye now is a burden of attack. I was about to say, though, one of the things that Sumter is bringing out is the newly renovated Goyo. At one point in time, they had 2 deployable shields with the explosive Vulcan canisters. Well, now the shield's been ripped away from the Vulcans and increased to a total of 4. And they're quite terrifying because it's 20 seconds of time denial. And you can waste a lot of time with that. So that's something that the offense of Hawkeye is going to have to be monitoring constantly, Boxy, if they want to conclude map number 3 with a W in their belt.
I want to know if the Goyo is even allowed. I know he was not allowed post rework when Demon Veil first dropped. So unless we've changed rules go into playoffs, which is a possibility, we could have a round forfeit here. But we'll keep casting like nothing's happening until we get a confirmation on that.
I believe, if I remember seeing the NJCAA rulebooks, both Thorin and the rework of Goyo have been included.
Okay, Goyo allowed apparently. Well, I've been working off some old info, but, better safe than sorry. Hellbeetle playing with the C4 in hand down below, and we're seeing a Warden, which I don't think we've touched upon yet. Warden, very interesting. We haven't seen many flashes brought out by the attack. But then again, I guess we need to just switch the side, so I don't know. The Warden baffles me. If you counterpick onto a Warden, that's okay, fine, whatever. But on your first defensive round, bring in a Warden, not a fan.
Warden's awesome, bro. Most dapper individual. So suave of an individual on the attack or defending side, right? Suit and tie, nice glasses. I mean, just a clean-cut gentleman. And also, a nice pack-a-punch because you're able to dodge flashes. And to be fair, there is 2 sets of flashbangs and a set of smoke grenades on the side of the Hawkeye. So if they go for a conceal style of plant, there's a very high possibility that those smart glasses of Yashua might be able to pay some dividends, just like the flank is taking place over through Banana.
I really think you just like good because both of you use half a can of hair gel every time you make your hair. But back onto round deck, you got to get the entry onto Atlas, and Joshua follows up with a second one onto Pete. It's all falling apart for Hawkeye. At least early on in the round. Well, it's not even early. We're in late game, but there's still so much to do for the attackers, and they're now 2 people down. Wagons takes a little bit of damage as well, but is healed up by the Thinkaboost. So there's that. Lion Scan's coming in clutch as well. But again, 15 seconds. Everyone's just stalling the elevator. Joshua on the flank finds another one. Can they at least find a pick or 2, or is that it? There we go. Held by the pistol. Puts me fine with 1, but Kuro's going to finish the round. And Sumter, they just take the lead going into the second split.
Well, mate, it seems like the linear style of attacks that you were alluding to is going to be back for the Hawkeyes' detriment this attacking round. And the thing with Bank and why I absolutely enjoy this map is because it pretty much prevents you from doing very linear attacks. It's not like Villa where you can get away with those hyper-linear attacks. And the problem with that is it forces you to do your due diligence, clear out every single nook and cranny, top floor, middle floor, then eventually into the basement. It requires you to create some level of panic and chaos in the defending lineup where you open up all of those hatches. Again, Ace's banned, you have access to Hibana, so why not leverage all those X-Cairo pellets to be able to open as many different positions as possible? That's the most important thing on Bank. You have to have contingencies. Have to have options, and so far the Hawkeyes offense, the only one that we've seen back in round 7, it was hyper linear all through the red lobby hatch. And I'm going to be blunt with this one, Boxy, you're not going to be able to win most of your Bank rounds if you're hyper linear like that. The only time and place you can be linear is through the servers execute, very similar to what Sumter did back in round number 1.
Are you changing your prediction to defense winning this one out?
No, I stay by what I said.
Okay, well, I'm gonna counter you just so that we don't always agree. I'm gonna say
Counter you like
Sumter
this
win this.
ratio?
Just like this ratio, exactly like that. But we're seeing another CEO defense. The castle is being played up above, and I'm a huge fan of castle. I don't know if we've casted since castle got buffed a little bit with another palette and just the general rework, but I'm a fan of castle. I feel like teams finally started bringing him. They're kind of playing around, toying around with what they can do with him, and I'm a castle fanboy, just like you love Rook. Well, I'm a castle fan.
To be fair, I also enjoy Castle because, again, going back to kind of the talking point that I've been mentioning, is the fact that you have a lot of flexibility with Castle and it forces the attackers to consume their utility. To be fair, you are bringing a sledge, so the consumption of utility probably isn't going to be that much. You just swing that sledgehammer in the upside down rappel like Pete was doing towards the north side of the map, and then all of a sudden, those once very strong fighting positions that Castle allowed you to have, well, they're completely gone.
I do want to keep an eye on Atlas throughout their attacks as well, because once again, on Oregon, the standard practice, literally all 6 attacking rounds on Hawkeye, was just 4 people push something and then Atlas crouch walks on the other side of the map, pushing in from behind and getting picks and pinching people. I want to see if he's still going to be doing that, if he's still going to get picks with that. Currently 3-4-1, so it could be doing better, but maybe this is where he redeems himself. And he is going to be pushing off segmented off from his other teammates. It's going to be open this time around. He's already thrown someone up there, and no picks. Ed. The Candela's coming out as well, so the side is being pressured quite heavily. Vagans with the entry pick, make that 2 actually, as both Stop Looking at Me and Joshua fall, and Pete will find one of his own.
Very grandiose attack taking place for Hawkeye. It's going to require Decky, the top frag, to step up big. They certainly do with their handgun, but it's going to allow the Castle Yuko in a 1v4 in an undesirable position as they're stuck in between the sandwich side of the hallway. There's nowhere for them to go, and there's an LMG zooming bullets over their poor head, and it's the flank in through the meeting side. It ends up putting them out of their misery. The 1v4 just a little bit too much for the Sumter defense to suffer. And that's Hawkeyes once again tying things up with a much better attack where the entire team comes together, and more importantly, Boxy, they leverage their utility.
Yep, I think we're slowly learning. With even most of the things that Binks and I complained in game 1, I feel like they fixed. I feel like both teams are recognizing their mistakes. Maybe not between the rounds necessarily, but definitely between the maps. They're probably talking to their coaches as well, and they're fixing their mistakes on the fly, and that is a trademark of a good Rainbow Six team. It's not how well you can shoot or how well you can use your utility, it's how well you can adapt to what you're doing wrong and to what your opponent is doing in general. And I'm really glad we've gotten one, because there have been a lot of moments, especially prior in the group stages of NJCAA, where that wasn't the case. So I'm glad we're all progressing here.
Deviation away from the bomb site lineup, Boxy, that we've seen kind of established earlier by the Hawkeye defense, where they were unwilling to go to anything beyond basement or CEO. We're going to see the tertiary or quaternary bomb site, however you want to approach it. I prefer actually open area over the site that we're currently at, Teller's Archives. And it just really comes down to how you expect the attacking team to play. If you expect the attacking team to take vertical in CEO, then Teller's Archives is not the bomb site for you. If you expect a more linear attack, then open area is not the bomb site for you. You just have to kind of have some type of information on the way that your opponents are going to play. And you can already see the Hawkeye offense starting to queue for that vertical play into CEO. So the Sumter gamble to go into Teller's Archives, it actually might not be working out as well as they'd like, but it's still going to rely heavily on the sledgehammer, the pocket shotgun of Atlas, and potentially the other bits of utility that the Hawkeye team is bringing out to the table.
Yep, drones coming out early on. Hawkeye is droning, making sure all their due diligence is crossed off, and that's what we like to see. Again, and just hitting the side directly. So, character, great arc, honestly. But there's also a lot of realm coming out from the defenders, and I want to see how long they can either sprint around and waste the time for, or how many kills they can rake up on their roaming. Stock control has been forfeit, or rather established by the attackers. Ying is playing there, but Daki sprinting around on the Ella below. Scorpion can be absolutely devastating, especially if you hug those tight corners with the Ella. So again, it's up to Daki to really get those kills. 9 and 5 currently, but they need to put out even more.
Lurking could be the name of the game here in Rainbow Six Siege, but also on the reciprocal end of that, and you can say the same thing could be for the Hawkeye offense, establishing their vertical, and again, as we've alluded to earlier, they do have enough utility to be successful. It is interesting, though, that the Atlas Inox scanner of Jackal has yet to find a single one of the roamers, and we're going to start to enter into the execution window, Boxy, of this attacking round from Hawkeye. It's going to be critical that the Inox scanner finds some members of the Sumter lurking defense. Speaking of the primary lurker, look who just found their kill, my friend. Daki, not identified at all and open, and this is going to start to kind of ring the demise of Hawkeye. They're going to have to synchronize their attack and either try to get that trade, which they do, but now you're sub 60 seconds, and you're going to have to execute with Castle Barricades still against the attacking team.
Well, Jackal found one. That's a great opening, but they need 3 or even 4 more in the round. They take a little bit of damage there. We go ahead. Beetle will send them to the grave prematurely. The Candela's coming out as well, and they're not going to do any favors for the defenders. Warden not being brought this time. Pete, though, he found one, and Wagons with a second one. The plant will start being stuck, but it's all up to Kuko, who just falls. And, well, to the Warden, who's HP, can deny the plant all alone. 40 seconds left on the diffuser timer, and we're also still playing verticals, which means it's practically unwinnable for the Worm. But they find one, so maybe they will end up surprising us. Still 2 to go, and like I said, one playing verticals, the other one top square as well. Hard job to pull off, but I guess maybe it's doable. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's going to go in favor of Hawkeyes because you have that long-range transaction, my friend. You can deny this diffuser practically perpetually from multiple angles, and it's going to be the square angle of Wagons on denies Yasawat's a final member of the Sumter defense. And what a strong round there from Hawkeye. Sure, they were the burden of the opening death, the Dokupi falling early, but it really didn't matter to the Hawkeyes team. Boxy, why? Because they did their darn due diligence. They dotted their I's, crossed their T's, they did their vertical, and ultimately forced the members of the Sumter defense deeper into tellers, away from Archives, and from there, you grip it, you rip it, and you launch those Candelas down range. The oppressive nature of that, good luck surviving. And, well, Hawkeyes did a wonderful job. My friend, I said this map tends to go a little attacker side, and Hawkeyes finds themselves potentially on their penultimate round here, concluding the 3rd series of the day, or probably the 3rd map of today, and potentially they might be going against WSU Tech, the roster also competing NJCAA that found a victory today against Northern Virginia Community College.
Wow, you really are up to date on your NJCAA playoffs, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
WSU Tech is going up against St. Clair, and then the winner of this matchup, which is the only one that hasn't been played out yet, is going against Barton. And they're
Barton's a terrifying team. Same thing with WSU Tech.
Yeah, really is. Someone just read out the new WSU Tech roster out to us, and I was like, oh wow, okay, that's a terrifying roster.
St. Clair versus WSU Tech is going to be a banger of a game. It's taking place on Thursday on the WSU Tech Esports channel.
Oh, okay, you're doing that? Okay, so I guess we're doing
race car thingies that day.
I guess we're on this stream then. I guess we're doing Barton versus whoever wins this map. I guess that's the case.
Well, nothing's yet set in stone, boxing. I think that's the most important thing, right? The Sumter defense could be able to find a few rounds to deliver us into a conclusion in round 11 or a conclusion in round 12, delivering us into OT, whatever the case may be. But that's going to be up on which team establishes their foothold early on, and we've kind of set a precedent early the last time that the Sumter defense defended this bomb site back in round 7. It was actually a Sumter win because the Hawkeyes were far too linear. We're already starting to see a deviation away from that attack, Boxy. It's the Hawkeyes starting to push, well, the entire map. I'm happy to see that, but have they actually droned every single nook and cranny, every single hidey hole? Because I do see Deki in a very aggressive stance over by the east-facing window. A common drone spot should be able to identify them, and a free shot through the green barricade, and they should get smoked.
I'm not sure if you've seen that, but in the previous few rounds, remember we've seen a drone pre-placed by Hawkeye in open. It was always deep open. It was always those marble stairs and like those tables at the end of open. So Decky hiding there could actually be off drone, even if there was a drone in open, and that could be devastating. The Inox scanner comes in clutch though, as I think it was the Goyo that ended up getting scanned, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh-oh. Here's a green barricade, and Lobster loses their life. Question marks. Completely confused, but Decky far too aggressive. The bravado after that first kill, they needed to slow off the sprint key. The W shift challenge ends up putting Decky a great initial kill, and it's kind of rectified by the Hawkeye offense, who now trades 4-4 apiece. Sub 60 seconds left on the clock, and Atlas is doing a much better job of using their Ion scanner where they had information. Joshua Watts' ego challenge, if you will, is good enough for that trade. So once again, lopsided in favor of Sumter, but we're low time, and members of the Sumter defense starting to fall. So again, anybody's game, and it's really about where this diffuser is pushing from. Crispy in through security, nowhere near their teammates. That could be an awkward scenario, but we're going to have to rely on the Hawkeyes team to come together and start to find critical kills.
Well, 2v3 as hell. Beetle finds one, but Crispy will soon refrag. Taken out from behind. Stop looking at me. Cleans it up, though. And, well, this was a chaotic round, to say the least. But Sumter, they got another round on the board, and they tied up 5-5 once again. One round is not going to decide at all. We have at least two more.
We're guaranteed to see round 12, my friend, so it's always exciting to see. So whoever wins this round, somebody goes to match point right now, and then the poor other team that's not, well, they're going to have the burden of guaranteeing their victory. They want to see the conclusion of this series in their favor. That's going to happen in overtime, my friend. We're going to go to a bomb site that we've seen the Hawkeye offense look quite strong on. We saw the use of the Yin Candela's break site. It was Wagon's 3K that kind of led into that charge. Now, while it's light on the traditional hard breach sense, Boxy, light the last time that we saw this as well back in round 8, they were able to use Wagon's pocket thermite charges, the trampolines, as I like to refer to them as, to gain that foothold into that bomb site. So we have to see if the Hawkeyes are still able to do so, and especially negotiating around the bandit batteries.
I don't think we really talked about this, but Hawkeye's attacking lineups have been very pesky to deal with. This round we've dropped the Jackal, but there were quite a few rounds in a row where we've had the Dokkaebi, the Jackal, and the Ying, and that's for the average defensive team. So I'm surprised that Sumter, as well as they are in their mental game, because, well, playing against someone that tracks you and someone that buzzes you and someone that blinds you for like an hour all at the same time, it can be very frustrating. But Sumter, they're holding up. Their mental game is still strong. And again, Bank ended up being attacker favorite, but Sumter still my favorites. I'm sorry.
Wow. Why?
Biased caster. That's why.
Hashtag biased caster. Get him out of here. Fired.
Biased Boxy.
GN,
you know how
GN.
You know how well it goes together. Biased Boxy. It has a ring to it.
Well, why bias Boxy spells the doom of the Hawkeye team, and it's going to really be Pete to make sure that that doesn't take place, Boxy, right? We see the utility usage, the need to remove the bandit batteries. To be fair, my friend, you don't actually need to expend the grenade. You can actually upside down repel and shoot it anyways, but what are you doing, Kuro? Are you trying to get close to that breach to use one of your surrogates? One's still in pocket. But that seems to be a missed opportunity to honestly put that gate behind you somewhere to watch your flank and potentially deny a style of play that Decky was bringing out the last time they were on attack.
Look at that, though. Atlas solo pushing, once again, it's what they excel at, it's what they keep doing, but it hasn't really paid huge dividends yet on this map specifically because, again, 5, 6, and 3 currently. So, well, they still need to put in a little bit of work to even be positive. But it's definitely doable. Decky, though, with the entry onto Pete, and Pete 14-7-2 currently. So the fact that Pete got shut down so early, absolutely massive for Sumter and their defense.
Well, the upside down repel gang is going to start once again for the Hawkeye attack, but that might be a little bit too late since Pete lost their line at the clay pigeoning effect. And it's going to require Hawkeyes to come together as a cohesive team, and well, part of that coming together, that collusion, is going to require Wagons to use their pocket thermite charges. Since they're stuck in stock trading, they're not really that close to being able to act as a pseudo-thermite, so they're going to elect to use their explosive gadgetry of their Candelas to try to cover the gap that they have in that hallway to be able to close the distance into the reinforcement. That's going to be at the opportunity cost of using Candelas at a later stage of the execute. Now, sure, with Helby falling, actually might go in their favor. Wagons, the only hard breacher, falls. That's a critical mistake as a team kill. Atlas is going to fall as well, and it's starting to look in favor of Sumter. They only have 4 attackers. I say only, but Hawkeyes has 2 attackers left, and it just all crumbles from there. Cohesive defense there from Sumter. They come together as a roster, and they put themselves in the most comfortable place to be. Boxy, match point, series point.
Atlas also found Wagons' head very cohesively on that team kill, and that was really the breaking point. You know, the straw that broke the camel's back on that attack, because first of all, we gotta criticize the Ying. I'm sorry, I don't want to be the negative one here, especially because you have a reputation of doing that, but why are you jumping in stock as the only hard breacher? Why are you even putting yourself in that position? Just clear out top square, clear out bottom square, and then go for the breach. Why would you jump into stock and then go all the way around where you can get shot from so many angles? Why? You're essentially the thermite. Before or after you get your breach open, you can be the Ying. You can throw in the smokes if you actually have the hard breaches. Never mind. But you can throw in the Candelas. You can go for the execute. Before you use your hard breach gadgets, you're the thermite of the team. And you can just put yourself in 1v1 fights, even if you think you can win them.
Well, Hawkeyes think they can win something, and that's going to be their middle floor defense, Boxy. And to be fair, they have set the precedent here. They won that the last time, and right behind the Hawkeye offense won that, and it was a strong win for them. And that was because of that vertical. Sumter forced to go here because of their 2 previous round victories. So it's an awkward position to be in. Again, Hawkeye's goal is very linear, Boxy. You have to win, well, this attack, you guarantee yourself for overtime, and kind of the way things are going, it's looking a very equal 3-3 split so far, and we might continue to see that happen.
Whoever ends up winning this one, whether it's Hawkeye and we're sent flying into overtime, or it's Sumter and they get the series, the dub, they go on to the semifinals. I just gotta say, map 3, both teams have played so much significantly better than they have on maps 1 and 2. So one team is going home for sure, but I think both should be proud of their progress, both throughout the group stages of NJCAA and just throughout this series itself. I really think if you go back, check the VOD, see how both teams are playing in games 1 and 2, I really think you would barely even recognize them on map 3. They're doing so much better. It's actually mind-blowing.
So, whose mind gets blown here, though, Boxy? That's the biggest question, right? Is it Hawkeyes on their vertical? Sumter has buried 4 defenders in the teller's side, the bomb side. Atypical strategy, to say the least, because, well, you got vertical, you kind of get smoked. One grenade could clean shop of Sumter, but with the nitroselfying Pete, and more importantly, probably one of the most important attackers, the Sledgehammer Pete off the board. Now, you do have extra nitrocells, still 2 of them, in fact, so
I think
it
3.
could still be the Reign of Terror.
I think 1 is pre-placed, because if you look early on, Valkyries was pre-placed, and you had 4 people playing below with C4s. 2 of them were thrown initially. I think the other one's pre-placed as well, just hasn't been detonated yet. And again, if anyone else on Hawkeye died, anyone but Pete, not only because of the sledge, but also with how well Pete has been doing on bank, I think it could have been anyone's game. With Pete dead, I'm sorry, but I think Sumter takes this. I think it's going to be another 7-5, and I think this is it. 55 seconds left, though, for that to be decided.
Well, by as Boxy calls the doom of Hawkeyes, you could have Atlas be able to do verticals. Again, not hope was lost there, but Atlas is focusing on more of a linear take into the backside of lobby. The strength of the Hawkeyes attack the last time we were here, as we were alluding to earlier, was their vertical play from above, currently lacking on the side of Hawkeye. So they're going to go for a linear take, and boy, have they not figured out that everybody from Sumter is more or less stuck in this bomb site. Atlas's pre-fires does not quite find the dividends as desired, and Wagons actually has a member of the Sumter defense on the other side of their wall. A well-placed nade might be able to find their target. The plant goes down, but the nitro is easy to deny. Hawkeyes have to crash on. It's all Quispy in a 1v5. It might be flawless for Sumter. They got the LMG, 100 bullets, and 7 seconds to work with. The sprint challenge, not good for anyone, and Sumter moves on to the next round. All at the backs of a strong, cohesive team defense. A flawless round earns them the semifinals.
Well, I mean, really not much to touch upon. I feel like you've already encapsulated everything so perfectly. First of all, both teams played so much better on Bang than they have on both Oregon and Clubhouse. I don't know if that's the chief buff, if they knew
It's
you
a
were
chief
casting
buff.
them, but it's a chief buff. Okay, but yeah, overall great series with how shaky the plays were from both teams in the first two games. I'm really glad that we got Bang, that we got to see the great map that it was, like detected moment. But what are your closing thoughts? I think we're still gonna get an interview in, but just before we throw it to a break.
Honestly, it came down to team play in the end, a motif that you and I were talking about consistently, and really the attack of Bank requires everybody to come together as a cohesive unit. Ultimately, at the end, for the Hawkeyes defense, they just weren't, or pardon me, the offense, they weren't able to quite come together that they wanted. They weren't able to leverage their hard breach and their sledgehammers, and really, again, it requires Bank to be multifaceted. You have to push from multiple angles, and honestly, a burden between the Hawkeyes compared to their opponents today, Sumter, was they just simply were doing too linear, too simple attacks, and Sumter was able to digest that, consume it, and be able to eventually spit out a very strong defense.
Okay, well, there you have it, broken down by the master himself. Like I said, we're gonna throw it to a 5-minute break, and then we're gonna be back with an interview from Sumter. Okay, well, we're back for the post-game interview, and what a series it was. Brian, I know you joined in later. You've only done map 3 with me because things had to go. But, you know, I love this series, and I'm sure you did too, especially after that bang showing from both teams.
I mean, it was close the entire way through, Boxy, right? Hawkeyes
Really?
take map number 1. It was Borrigan, a 7-5. Clubhouse goes in favor of the ultimate winner is Sumter, the 7-4 on Dubhouse. And then Bank, my favorite map, as I was very biased towards the entire time. Sumter is able to conclude on that brilliant, flawless round defense downstairs and Teller's Archives to conclude that map 7-5. And more importantly, my friend, they've now secured their ticket to move on to the semifinals.
Yeah. Okay, so like we promised, we do have a post-game interview, but before we get him in, we have to do something. And you guys at home, you got to do it too, okay? You got to cover your eyes because we have Stop Looking at Me coming in to join us. So this is how we're doing the interview. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing
Excellent.
fine. Yeah, we're respecting your wishes. We're not looking at you.
Hey,
I
I
have
appreciate
Maldo.
it.
Okay,
I
yeah.
can't just hold that
I
the
get-
whole time. My apologies, my friend.
It's all right.
I gotta
It's
see
all
the
right.
jersey, bro.
Jersey,
Oh,
yeah.
that is clean. Okay.
That's fresh. That's fresh.
Okay, so, well, first up, congrats on your win. Just, you know, good job.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. This is a tough game for us. We knew they were going to be a really good team. They were 8-1. We knew we were 8-1 too, and so we knew it was going to be a tough team. But we knew we had the opportunity to pull out the win. Sorry about that.
Oh, good. I
We
mean,
love the
this
energy.
is this is something we
We're
were gonna
locked.
ask you about. Is like, how does it feel, you know, playing at a LAN center with your teammates, being face to face, being able to even, I don't know, fist bump after each and every round, compared to just playing from home?
I mean, it's really hype in here. When you're at home, it's a little hard to get that like connection with each other and like bond as a team. When we're here, we're able to talk with each other, be real, look at each other's screens, and help each other out, and it helps the camaraderie here, for us. But after the win, we were really hyped. We were yelling in here. It was a really exciting time.
Yeah, I could definitely tell. So, before I hand it off, to Chief here, what happened? What happened on Oregon? You guys did well in the defense. I was really hyping you up. I was like, okay, they're doing really well. They look so much stronger than Hawkeye. And then as soon as you guys got to attack, I think you didn't win a single attacking round.
I like to think we're more of a defensive favorite team. Oregon's their
Okay.
map. They played that. We scouted their VODs in the past, and we know that's their map, and they're really strong on it. We haven't had as much preparation as we could like to have on it. We got some good rounds on it, but unfortunately, it's their thing. They know more about it than we do, and they were able to get the one on the map. But after that, we were able to take Clubhouse and then Bank to end it off.
Okay, Brian.
Now, stop looking at me. Most important question of the day: where do people cop those jerseys? You know, represent the university. Where can they find those jerseys from?
Hey, you gotta come here and be on the team. I mean, if there was a merch, I mean, I'd sell that. But if you want these
You should.
jerseys, you gotta come here.
You should
Back
send me
here
Heard
and
here
too.
Brian
first.
one. Yeah, you should
Join the
send
esports
us.
team. Join the esports club. You get the Sumter
yeah.
jerseys, my friend. Before I
We'll
let
take
you
any-
depart, because, pardon?
I was gonna say we'll take anyone, you know. The merrier.
Okay, so the bar is not high. Got it.
You would hire
I mean,
Boxy. You'd bring Boxy on. Is what you're saying.
I didn't mean it like that, but like,
so Boxy the bar.
Yeah, well, that's why I cast this game instead of played. You know, it is what it is. But again, congrats on your win, and you guys made it to the semifinals. You will be going up against Barton. So, any thoughts on that? Do you know the team? Have you played against them before?
Barton.
Barton, yeah.
I don't think we played against them. I don't think we really looked them up in the past. So it's gonna be a
Yeah, they weren't in your
new team.
group, so.
Barton. Yeah, they weren't in our group, so we're at the scout them out and see how they play. Look at their previous VODs and kind of know how we want to play around them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for your time. I see the vibes are still high in your LAN center, so you should probably go and celebrate with your teammates. That is pretty much it from us. If you want to shout out anyone, just any final words, though, now is the time.
Yeah, sure. I want to shout out my coaches here. They're the ones that got the team together. They're the ones that's helped coach us and get to where we are. Of course, I get my boys in here. We're a team, and here they are. We wouldn't be here.
Name the people in the background, please, my friend. Give
Name?
them their love.
Yeah. All right, so
Who's who?
we got Sir Decky right here. Shout out our team captain. We got Kuro Kokoro, Hell Beetle, Joshua right back here trying to hide. And of course,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
stop looking at me.
Okay.
That's the team.
Big brains. We're big brain.
We're big
Sir.
brains? Hell yeah. Okay, again, thank you so much. Good luck in the rest of the playoffs, the semifinals, and potentially even the finals. You guys have only a few days to prepare, so I'm not going to keep you here any longer. Again, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for having
Cheers,
me.
bud. Anytime, my friend.
Okay,
What
and
a
well,
brilliant interview.
yeah, really. You rarely get this energy. Even when people play, you know, in the same room, they rarely all take the time to kind of give us a little bit of something. But they really showed us the vibes that were, well, so high on Sumter, you could tell.
And I have to say how much of it like an enigma that was, because we've cast, at least I've casted, you know, Akron at their LAN center, GCU at their LAN center, and they've never had that level of energy. So Sumter next up, and they're going to have to be certainly next up going against a flawless roster during their semifinals.
Yeah. Okay, so again, we're not going to wreck this out. We're not passing it off to anyone. This is it for on Esports U2. Brian, thank you so much for jumping in last second. I really enjoyed casting with you. It's been so long. It's been too long. We got to do this more often. And yeah, again, just thank you for being here with me.
My friend, it's been a blast. It's been an absolute
It
pleasure.
really
And again,
has.
happy to be here more. I also want to take the time to thank our wonderful observer, as I lovingly recall Ma XD or Max, for the time that they spent. It's what, 3 a.m. British Standard Time for them, 4 a.m. for you, and Coltoon, our producer today.
It's actually 5 for me for Max right now. So yeah,
oh,
even
my bad.
even
I'm usually pretty good about getting the BST in Central European times. That's
Where,
the one time I made the error for it.
well, you know, the grind never stops, but the stream sadly does. So again, thank you all so much for tuning in. This is where we leave it off.
Cheers.